Karnataka head of elections had made a mega announcement of freebies, of welfare schemes as they called it. But now they are facing a lack of funds. There is this mega crunch of how to fund these freebies for which they need funding from the state government. Now there is where we are being told information coming in that the SC/ST welfare fund will be diverted to fulfill the poll guarantees. This is about 11,000 crore rupees that were meant earlier to for a certain welfare fund is now being fulfilled for the major poll guarantees, which were 5. Money will be diverted from the 34,293 crore rupees corpus of the SC and tribal sub-plans that mandates the government to spend about 24% of its total budget on the SC/ST welfare. So the 5 guarantees, giving you a background here, will cost around 52,000 crore rupees. They need the money to fund this. The government intends to divert from these earlier sub-plans and then allegedly transfer it for the freebies. So the BJP in opposition has quickly jumped in. They're slamming the Karnataka government, accusing them of being anti-poor, anti-SC/ST and with regard to diverting their funds. The Congress is denying it, but the BJP claims Congress government was denying the rightful share of SC/ST families just for their ill-advised freebies that already they had been warned against.
ये जरूरी था कि इस समय बेंगलुरु का, कर्नाटका का तेजी से विकास हो, लेकिन वहां जिस प्रकार की घोषणाएं करके सरकार बनाई गई, उसके दुष्परिणाम इतने कम समय में आज पूरा देश देख रहा है और चिंता अनुभव कर रहा है। जब कोई पार्टी अपने निहित स्वार्थों के लिए सरकार की तिजोरी खाली करती है, तो इसका नुकसान सबसे ज्यादा राज्य के लोगों को होता है। हमारी युवा पीढ़ी के भविष्य पर सवालिया निशान लग जाता है। कर्नाटका के विकास के लिए तिजोरी खाली है, पैसे ही नहीं है। भाइयों, ये देश के लिए बहुत चिंताजनक है। यही स्थिति राजस्थान में भी हम देख रहे हैं। वहां भी कर्ज का बोझ बढ़ रहा है, विकास के काम ठप पड़े हैं।
5 गारंटी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन करने के बाद हर चीज का प्राइस हाइक किया, इसलिए ये गवर्नमेंट ये पूर के खिलाफ है, दलितों के खिलाफ है, बैकवर्ड क्लास का खिलाफ है, सभी जनता के खिलाफ ये गवर्नमेंट चला रहा है, इसलिए हम विरोध करते हैं।
I'm moving on now to some international news coming in, and that is a big one from United States of America. Former President of the USA, Donald Trump, has been now charged in a 3rd criminal case. Remember, apart from the allegations of that he had decided to hide and hoard some of the confidential documents and also tampered with the surveillance footage, now Donald Trump has been indicted again in a special counsel's 2022 election interference probe on felony charges. And these charges include conspiracy to defraud the US government, witness tampering, conspiracy to obstruct official proceedings, and also attempt to obstruct transfer of power after losing 2020 presidential election. This is a 4-count indictment that reveals scathing details, could actually mean trouble for him with regard to the 2021 riot to remain in office. Now, he tried to subvert, allegedly, transfer power to Biden despite loss in 2020 elections. He even lied about his loss to instigate a mob. The US Justice Department underscored that there were about 6 co-conspirators that helped him. Remember, Trump could face maximum 55 years in prison if convicted on all charges. And this is when he wants to run again for the presidential race, which is slated for next year. Will this hamper his efforts or perhaps not make much of a difference?
Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding. The attack on our nation's capital on January 6, 2021 was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election. The men and women of law enforcement who defended the U.S. Capitol on January 6th are heroes. They are patriots and they are the very best of us. They did not just defend a building or the people sheltering in it. They put their lives on the line to defend who we are as a country and as a people.
Will this mean the end of political career for Donald Trump, or could he actually emerge innocent and defiant even more? All right, I'm signing off this bulletin for now. Thank you so much for watching, but stay tuned. Our big investigation comes in after a very short break on Haryana. Was there an intelligence that was ignored ahead of the communal clash? Was the police deployment deliberately low in those areas? We get you that big probe expose after a very short break. Thank you for watching.
In less than 2 months from now, the new iPhone 15 will be on sale across the world. While Business Today TV had reported on Friday about the price of its high-end models crossing the 2 lakh rupee mark for the first time, BTTV has got hold of more details about the much-anticipated Apple handset. It's likely to have the smallest bezel yet and could be rid of the infamous notch. Apart from the all-screen upgrade, the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus will also come packed with major camera improvements, and the traditional Lightning connector will give way to the faster USB-C. Tech Today's Danny DeCruz has more on all the new features expected. Danny, take it away.
The new Apple iPhones are coming soon. Most likely, they will be here by September. So a new report has leaked a lot of information about the iPhone 15 series. So let's start with the more affordable iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus models. The biggest change coming to these models is that Apple will finally do away with the notch. Both the iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus will get the dynamic island, which was last seen in last year's Pro models. The cameras are getting a massive upgrade too, along with the performance. And yes, gone are the days of Lightning port. All new iPhones will be getting the USB Type-C for the first time. Now on to the Pro models, in which Apple is replacing the shiny frame with titanium, so your new iPhones will be strong too. The displays will also be better because of thinner bezels, and Apple is giving the camera hardware a substantial boost. The performance alone will make the iPhone 15 Pro models a compelling upgrade. They will become the first smartphones to use a 3nm chipset. All these upgrades make the new iPhone 15 models a good upgrade, but you will also have to shell out more money. Some models may even cross the rupees 2 lakh price point in India.
All right, thanks for that, Danny.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
There is a moral question involved in this. Online gaming cannot be treated at the same level as essential commodities when it comes to taxation. Your first thoughts on this?
Yeah, thanks, Siddharth. So, I just wanted to lay the facts here so that you and your viewers can get a sense of, the impact. The thing is that from the moment, so we have to look at the ecosystem, which is made up of the game developers, the gaming platforms, and then the gamers themselves, the consumers, right? So if you look at the impact on the gaming companies or the platforms, then moving from the methodology of valuation from GGR to the face value, as has been highlighted in the press con yesterday, that is going to be a 1100% impact. Coming to the gamer, for him or her, the participation in a game is going to get more expensive by 300% or 3x, 3 times more expensive. And for the gaming platform, coming back to the platforms, the revenue, the valuation methodology of face value will get more the percentage of tax, indirect tax, will be more than the revenue of the platform. And so I'm sure that would be the impact. I just wanted to give you a sense of the impact across the gamer and the gaming platform community.
Okay, from your answers, it clearly means that uh, the sector has been dealt a death blow. Do you see it even surviving with the kind of numbers that you have just shared with us?
No, I do not know of any precedent of any other industry or sector that could buffer in or factor in such a impact, such a high impact. Moving from gross gaming revenue methodology, and the rate from 18% to 28 is fine, which is about 50 or percent can be factored into, but 1100% I think is I do not know. I mean, if you are aware of any precedent for any other industry also, there does not seem to be any. So that I think, but at the same time, we are hopeful. Now, what will happen is inadvertently, the gamer would veer towards that is not the intent, but inadvertently they will veer towards platforms that do not pay GST taxation.
Good morning and a warm welcome to India Today. I'm Paulami Saha. These are the headlines we're tracking at the top of this hour. Car vigilante Monu Manisa denies hand in Haryana riots, blames new Congress MLA. Deputy Chief Minister Dushyant Chautala blames organizers for the violence. Manipur political fight at President's door. 21 opposition members of parliament head to Rashtrapati Bhavan. Opposition MPs reject short duration debate. Siddaramaiah Sarkara under fire amid massive fund crunch. SC/ST welfare funds diverted for freebies. Karnataka minister refutes charges. BJP calls Siddaramaiah government anti-poor. US charges former President Donald Trump with conspiracy to fraud the country and witness tampering in 2020 Capitol Hill riots case. News coming in right now. Massive fire at Hyderabad showroom. A fire at a shopping complex in Hyderabad. Several fire tenders have been rushed to the spot. Firefighters are conducting rescue operations. You can see that fire which has engulfed that shopping complex in Hyderabad. Several fire tenders are at the spot right now trying to douse that fire, and rescue operations are underway. We are yet to ascertain if there are any people who are stuck inside the mall at the moment, but you can see the size of that blaze on your screens right now. A massive fire at a Hyderabad showroom. This is a shopping complex in the capital city of Hyderabad, and you can see those fire tenders who are climbing up in order to in fact douse the fire and rescue if anyone is trapped inside the building at the moment. We're trying to get more details from our reporters and our colleagues on the ground, but you can see the size of that blaze over there. You can see the fire that has engulfed that shopping complex and the black smoke which is of course emanating from that building at the moment, which gives you a sense of the size of this blaze, where you can see fire tenders who in fact have been rushed to the spot and are conducting rescue operations and are also engaged in trying to douse the flame. Fire tenders have been rushed to that spot right now. This is a showroom, a shopping complex in the city of Hyderabad, which in fact has been engulfed in this blaze this morning. We're trying to, of course, get more details from the ground as to what caused this fire as well. What is the reason behind this fire inside this shopping complex? But you can see, of course, the flames that are emerging from the building gives you a sense of the size of this blaze, which, of course, the firefighters right now are totally engaged in dousing. We'll try and get a report on this from the ground as to when, in fact, this fire was reported to the authorities, what time this morning, and, of course, what time the firefighters reached the spot to douse the flame. News coming in right now. A day after Modi Pawar bonhomie in Pune, Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao hits out at Sharad Pawar, says Sharad Pawar joined hands with the BJP. KCR says, and I quote, India, quote unquote, calls us BJP's B team. What is Pawar doing? So that is, of course, the pot shot that Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao has taken against Sharad Pawar, saying if the India alliance calls us, the BRS, BJP's B team, then what is Mr. Pawar doing? Remember that Sharad Pawar shared the dais with Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Pune yesterday at the Lokmanya Tilak Award, which was conferred upon by the trust in fact, on Prime Minister Modi. Let's listen in to what the Telangana Chief Minister had to say.
हम किसी के तरफ नहीं है, किसी के तरफ रहना भी नहीं चाहते। हम अकेले नहीं है, हमारे और मित्र भी है। हमारा ये मन है। ये इंडिया और ये एनडीए सब देख चुके हैं ना। कौन सा नया इंडिया है? ये तो 50 साल राज किया हुआ है। सर, महाराष्ट्र चुनाव में क्या होगा? समझ गए? कांग्रेस ने देश को ऊपर पूरा राज्यों पे और पूरे दिल्ली पे उनका 50 साल का कब्जा था। क्या किया, क्या नहीं किया, हम जानते हैं। आप लोग भी जानते हैं, बखूब मेरे से अच्छे जानते हैं। उसके बाद में एनडीए काफ़ी टाइम में उनको 16 साल टाइम मिला। उस समय में 6-7 साल थे, अभी 10 साल कट रही है, 10वां साल है ये। क्या किया, इनका परिणाम क्या मिला?
My colleague Apurva is joining me live this morning on this comment which K. Chandrasekhar Rao has made, while the BRS, of course, is adopting its independent stance in Parliament. K. Chandrasekhar Rao, the Chief Minister, of course, has hit out at the India alliance, saying clearly it's apparent who is BJP's B team.
Well, Polami, strong statements there coming in from KCR. In fact, this is right after he had gone on a day's tour to Maharashtra. He, in fact, met with several leaders from Maharashtra as well. And while commenting on the NDA alliance as well as the Congress-led alliance in across various states, he says said BRS is standing alone. It is neither in the alliance of the NDA or with the alliance of India. That's what he's also said. He said that yes, there needs to be a change here in the country. Definitely not the change that either of these, that is the NDA alliance or the India alliance, can be able to bring. That's what he said. Also commenting on either of the alliances, KCR has also gone on to state that neither of them, neither of the parties or the alliance parties have been able to do any good for the people in the last 50 odd years, and that the new India that they claim to be speaking is in fact false, but rather there needs to be an change that is important.
Apurva, thank you for bringing us all of those details. So, K. Chandrasekhar Rao there, hitting out at Sharad Pawar and the India alliance, saying, if we're called BJP's B team, what exactly was Mr. Pawar doing with Narendra Modi? Shifting focus now, let's take you through all the top developments coming in from violence-hit Nu. Haryana's Nu remained gripped in tension for a third day. Curfew has been extended. 116 people have been arrested so far. At least 5 people were killed in the Nu violence. Nu's violence has rocked Gurugram as well. Shops set ablaze, vehicles burned. Mobs ransacked shops belonging to a particular community. At least 7 stores were set on fire. Cops conducted peace flag march. Hindu groups have called for a Mahapanchayat in the wake of the violence. Hindu groups will also stage a protest at multiple locations in the Delhi NCR. Agitation also includes a yatra plan from Manesar as the situation remains fragile in Mewat. Monu Manesar, cow vigilante and lynching accused who's at the center of the violence, claims he wasn't present at the yatra and that the violence was stoked by Nu's Muslim leaders, including Congress's Mamman Khan. Amid communal flair in Nu, Haryana Deputy Chief Minister has come out in support of the people of the region, blames the rally organizers for the chaos in Haryana, says they didn't give proper estimation of the crowds to the district administration. Now, after Haryana's Nu, Gurugram's Badshahpur is on the edge. Shops were burnt, vehicles set ablaze by a mob around 10:30 p.m. last night. The mob ransacked shops belonging to a particular community and at least 7 shops were set ablaze. Rapid Action Force conducted flag march in Badshahpur as violence gripped the region. Tension continues to prevail in Nu as well after massive violence unfurled in the area. Security has been beefed up and prohibitory orders have been extended in several areas. 116 people have been arrested so far and at least 5 people were killed in the Nu violence. In the wake of the Haryana communal flare-up, Bajrang Dal has decided to hold a nationwide agitation today. Hindu groups will also stage protests at multiple locations in Delhi and the national capital region.
हुआ क्या? हुआ मैडम नुहू वाला घटना जो हुई है उसके अगेंस्ट यहाँ प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे थे वो पता नहीं अचानक कैसे और क्या माहौल हुआ कि अचानक हिंसा भड़क उठी और इसमें यहाँ सिलेंडर रात को ये दुकान बंद करने के बाद शटर तोड़े हैं शटर तोड़ने के बाद सिलेंडर में ब्लास्ट किया है इन्होंने वो एक परचूने की दुकान थी वो भी बंद थी उनका शटर का ताला तोड़कर वो भी ब्लास्ट किया है उसमें भी सिलेंडर में पेट्रोल डाल के आग लगा दी गाड़ी फूंक दी स्कूटी फूंक दी बाइक फूंक दी मेरा घर अंदर है जी मेरे घर पे भी तोड़ फोड़ की है।
अफवाहों से बिल्कुल ध्यान ना दें क्योंकि ऐसी सिचुएशन में पर्टिकुलरली जब कम्युनल टेंशन्स होती हैं तो अफवाहें बड़ा एक रोल अदा करती हैं। अगर बहुत ज़्यादा अफवाहें गलत अफवाहें चलाई जाएं तो उससे हिंसा जो है वायलेंस है वो और ज़्यादा भड़क सकती है। इसके अलावा हमारी आगे कोशिश ये भी रहेगी कि जो शहर के ज़िले के बाकी हिस्सों में चाहे वो गुरुग्राम है पटौदी है वहाँ पे भी पीस कमेटीज़ को एक्टिवेट करके दोनों समुदाय की बैठक कराई जाएगी ताकि लोगों में एक सौहार्द का माहौल बने और शांति स्थापित हो।
जी, अभी स्थिति बहुत कुछ नियंत्रण के अंदर है। कहीं भी कोई भी छिटपुट जैसी घटना भी वारदात नहीं हुई है। 2 बार पीस कमेटी की मीटिंग भी करवाई जा चुकी है और यहाँ पे जो भी फ्लैग मार्च है सुबह शाम किया जा रहा है और जो सेंट्रल फोर्सेज प्रोवाइड की गई हैं राज्य सरकार के द्वारा, उन सबको भी जहाँ संवेदनशील क्षेत्र हैं उनके अंदर स्टेशन किया जा चुका है और जो शरारती तत्व हैं उन पर कड़ी नज़र रखी जा रही है। हमने अब तक इसमें करीब 16 FIR रजिस्टर करी हैं और बाकी भी जो कंप्लेंट आ रही हैं उनके बेसिस पे हम FIR रजिस्टर करे जा रहे हैं और जो भी इसमें शामिल तत्व थे तो उनको बहुत सारे लोगों को इसमें डिटेन किया गया है और टेक्निकल एविडेंस, वीडियो फुटेजेज और उनकी जो डाटा है उनके बेसिस पे हम उनको आगे वेरीफाई करके अरेस्ट करके कोर्ट में पेश करने की कार्रवाई करेंगे।
बाजार बंद है और ऑलरेडी जैसे कि 144 की धारा हमारी लगी हुई है और सारे हमारे प्राइवेट और सरकारी संस्थान बंद है। एहतियात के तौर पे इंटरनेट बंद किया गया है और वहाँ पे हमारी टीम अभी वहाँ पे सभी जगह जो कुछ लोग घूम रहे थे उनको खदेड़ कर आई है और वहाँ पर अभी स्थिति सामान्य है। सभी DSP और हम फोर्स लेके पेट्रोलिंग कर रहे हैं। शांति व्यवस्था बनी हुई है और लगातार हमारी जो पेट्रोलिंग पार्टी है वो गश्त कर रही है। सभी की हमारी तरफ से अपील है किसी भी अफवाह पर ध्यान न दें और अपने घरों पर ही रहें।
मेवात में जो घटना घटी है उसको देखते हुए रोहतक में हमने पुलिस के पुख्ता प्रबंध किए हैं, जिसमें मुख्यतः जो हमारी मस्जिद है और ऐसे स्थान है जहाँ पे मुस्लिम बहुल क्षेत्र है, जहाँ पे इनकी संख्या ज़्यादा है, वहाँ पे हमने सुरक्षा के पुलिस डिप्लॉयमेंट को बढ़ाया है और इसके अतिरिक्त हमने अपने चौकी इंचार्ज के साथ हमने अलग से मुलाजिम डिप्लॉय किए हैं ताकि किसी भी तरह की सूचना मिलने पे तुरंत चौकी इंचार्ज, हमारे SHOs और यहाँ तक कि हमारे जो गस्टेड ऑफिसर उनको भी डायरेक्शन दी है कि मौके पे पहुँच के स्थिति को काबू पाएँ।
Monu Manesar, who was linked to the killing of 2 alleged cow smugglers in Bhiwani this February, is back in the news after communal violence in Nu in which 5 people were killed. Violence was triggered after rumours of him attending the VHP Yatra surfaced. While exclusively talking to India Today, he claimed he didn't attend the rally and that the Yatra was fired upon with AK-47 rifle and that the riots were stoked by new Muslim MLAs, including Congress MLA Maman Khan. Listen in.
नमस्कार, मैं हूं जय किशन और इस वक्त मेरे साथ जुड़ चुका है मोहित यादव उर्फ मोनू मानेसर। मोनू, सीधा सवाल पर आते हैं कि नूह में जो भी हिंसा भड़की है उसमें आपका नाम सामने आ रहा है। मोनू,
ये जो भी नाम ले रहे हैं, जो आपने वीडियो देखी है उस वीडियो में कोई भड़काऊ बयान या कोई भी भड़काऊ चीज उसमें तो है नहीं, लेकिन जो भी गो तस्कर है, जो वहां पे क्राइम करते हैं, ये सब उनका करा धरा है। साइबर क्राइम थाना फूंक दिया उन्होंने, सब उनकी बदौलत है।
पर जो पिछली साल जो घाट मीका का इंसिडेंट हुआ नासिर जुनैद वाला, उसके बाद से पूरे इलाके में तनाव था। फिर ऐसे में आपका वीडियो आना उसने उकसाने का काम करा है। कई जो आपके वीडियोस पे रिप्लाई आए हैं, तो आपको नहीं लगता कि आपके वीडियोस ने जो है वो उकसाने का काम करा है इस यात्रा में?
कोई उकसाने का कार्य नहीं किया, ना मैं उस यात्रा में गया क्योंकि हमारे अधिकारी गण थे उस यात्रा में, मैं था ही नहीं। हमारे जो डॉक्टर सुरेंद्र जैन जी हैं, जो हमारे विश्व हिंदू परिषद के बड़े अधिकारी हैं, उन पर भी सीधा फायरिंग की गई है। तो उससे बड़ा दुर्भाग्य क्या है? हमारी हिंदू बहन बेटियों पर सीधा फायरिंग, और ये हिंदू समाज बिल्कुल नहीं सहेगा कि एक मुस्लिम बाहुल्य क्षेत्र में एक तरह से पूरी तरह घेर कर गोलियां चलाना, जो मैं सोशल मीडिया पे देख रहा हूं और मेरे साथियों से मेरी बात भी हुई है कि 47 जैसे मतलब आधुनिक हथियारों से भी गोलियां चलाई गई हैं, लॉन्चर भी चलाए गए हैं, जो हमने सुना है, हमारे डॉक्टर सुरेंद्र जैन जी ने बताया। तो इससे बड़ा दुर्भाग्य क्या होगा?
लेकिन अब ये जो 5 मौतें हुई है, इसमें आप किसको जिम्मेदार मानते हैं? क्योंकि आपका वीडियो आया था और प्रशासन जो है उसको पता होने के बावजूद भी पुख्ता इंतजाम नहीं करे, तो क्या ये आपके भाषण को जिम्मेदार माने या प्रशासन की लापरवाही को माने?
इसमें सारा जिम्मेवार वहां के मुस्लिम विधायक।
कौन है ये मुस्लिम विधायक?
आपने देखा होगा, उनकी न्यूज आ रही है, मामन खान है और कई विधायक हैं। वो कह रहे हैं कि आओ मैं तुम्हें सपोर्ट करूंगा, मतलब मुस्लिमों को कह रहे हैं मैं इस लड़ाई में तुम्हारे साथ हूँ। लड़ाई लड़नी है तो जंग पे जाओ ना, यहाँ पे क्या लड़ाई लड़े हो?
तो आप वहां उस यात्रा में थे या नहीं थे? एक आखिरी सवाल मेरा आपके लिए था, क्या वहां आप जाने वाले थे, आपको रोक दिया गया? आपने क्यों लास्ट टाइम पे प्लान कैंसिल करा?
मेरा लास्ट टाइम पे प्रोग्राम सिर्फ और सिर्फ इसलिए था, मेरे से प्रशासनिक अधिकारियों का, मेरे अधिकारियों के पास मैसेज आया था और मेरे पास भी मैसेज आ गया था कि भाई साहब आप जाओगे तो वहां पे मतलब माहौल बिगड़ सकता है। तो मैंने सोचा कि हमारे मतलब यात्रा नहीं रुकनी चाहिए, हमारे मंदिरों में पूजा होनी चाहिए। तो हम इसी वजह से नहीं गए, क्योंकि मुझे पता था कि मैं जाऊंगा तो वहां पे माहौल खराब हो सकता है। सोशल मीडिया के द्वारा कोई सिलेंडर फोटो लगा रहा है कि हम बम से उड़ा देंगे, कोई बम का फोटो दिखा रहा है हम उड़ा देंगे 47 से। तो ये बड़ा
तो
दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण
हरियाणा
था। और
प्रशासन
मैं
से आपकी बात हुई थी?
मेरे अधिकारियों की,
तो आपके जो दल के जो अधिकारी है उनकी?
जी जी, उनका मैसेज मेरे पास आया था, जिला प्रशासन से उनकी बात हुई होगी।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मोनू हमसे बात करने के लिए, बहुत शुक्रिया।
जी आभार।
सर्च ऑपरेशन भी किया गया है और जो लोग भागे हुए हैं उनको पकड़ने की कोशिश की जा रही है। अभी तक 116 लोग ये अरेस्ट हो चुके हैं और उनको आज उनका रिमांड लिया जाएगा ताकि उनसे और जानकारी लेकर के जो भी लोग इसमें दोषी पाए जाएंगे उनको पकड़ करके उनके खिलाफ सख्त से सख्त कार्रवाई की जाएगी। किसी को भी बख्शा नहीं जाएगा। हाँ, जो आम नागरिक हैं उनकी सुरक्षा करना ये हमारा दायित्व है। उस सुरक्षा के लिए हमारी जो सुरक्षा एजेंसीज हैं, हमारी पुलिस है, वो सतर्क है। बाकी हरियाणा में भी जो कोई छोटी मोटी घटनाएं हुई हैं वो सब कंट्रोल कर ली गई हैं, स्थिति सामान्य हो गई है। मेरी जनता से अपील भी है कि वो लोग शांति बनाए रखें और चूँकि आपसी तनाव में भाईचारा बिगड़ता है, भाईचारा बना करके रखने से ही अपने प्रदेश की खुशहाली है। तो किसी प्रकार की घटना को आगे न बढ़ने दें, ऐसा मैं जनता से अपील करता हूँ।
So that was, of course, Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar there making an appeal to the people of Haryana to, in fact, maintain peace. Now, cow vigilante Monu Manesar has an ongoing feud with Congress MLA from Noor region, Maman Khan. Khan had earlier openly threatened to target Monu Manesar if he came to Mewat. Maman Khan was speaking in the Haryana Assembly. Listen in.
आप बैठिए, आप बैठ जाइए, डर जा तू, जरा जी बैठो, बैठ जा, इतना बड़ा नहीं है अभी, तू बैठ जा अपना। ये मोनू मानेसर दिखाता है, कहीं अमित शाह के साथ फोटो खिंचवा रहा है, कहीं अरुण जेटली के साथ फोटो खिंचवा रहा है। क्या डराना चाहता है ये मेवातियों को कि मैं इतना बड़ा आदमी हूँ? अब के मंत्री याद रखना, ये मेवात गए, इसकी प्यास सी ना फोड़ी तो मेवात के हमसे कौन कहेगा? इसने बहुत आतंक उठा लिया मेवात में, 3 लड़कों की हमारी जान ले ली है इसने। भाई डट जा रे, जब बोलिए क्या होगा? भी मेरा ये किस आधार पर हथियार दे रखे हैं आप लोगों ने? क्या मुसलमानों को मारने के लिए दे रखे हैं आपने ये?
My colleague Anmol Bali is now joining us live. Anmol, what is the ground situation right now? We just heard from Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar, who said that 116 people have been arrested and the law will take its due course and the strictest punishment will be meted out to the accused persons. But he says normalcy has returned. What more can you tell us?
Last night I was in Noo. It was like curfew. The situation has calmed down, but currently also people are scared, especially the locals, those who are from the Noo. Section 144 is imposed, and it was also seen that the fire of Noo has spread to the adjoining cities like Sona and Gurugram. It was also seen that a mosque was burnt the day after yesterday. Maulvi was also killed, and around 4 people were reported killed in the Noo. And addition to this, Maulvi was killed, but I told you earlier. And as well as private companies have asked their employees, especially in Gurugram, the cyber city, to shift to work from home. Private banks are closed. I have been asked to close. And secondly, the schools, colleges and other educational institutes in Gurugram and the adjoining areas of Noo are also asked to close. So you can see the normalcy has not returned yet, but police and the heavy deployment of paramilitary force was seen in Noo as well as Sona and as well as in adjoining areas of Gurugram.
Okay, Anmol, thank you for bringing us that latest report in terms of how everyone seems to be gripped with a lot of fear in the areas of Noo, Gurugram, Sona as well. On Congress and INLD targeted, in fact, the BJP-JJP government in Haryana over the Noo violence, alleging that the ruling combine has failed the law and order of the state. Listen in to all the political reactions that have been coming in.
जिस कदर हथियार लहराए गए हैं, जिस तरफ गोलियां चलाई गई हैं,
ये अकस्मात हुआ नज़र नहीं आता। वहाँ पर दोनों कम्युनिटीज़ प्यार से रहती हैं। ये तो किसी ना किसी ने इंजीनियरिंग की है या इसको मास्टरमाइंड किया है, जो देश की, प्रदेश की और देश की शांति को भंग करना चाहता है।
कि मेवात का जो इतिहास रहा है, ये इतिहास हमेशा प्रो इंडिपेंडेंस हो, प्री इंडिपेंडेंस हो या पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस हो, हमेशा इस देश की अखंडता और एकता के साथ रहा। और आज नहीं, जब मुगलों ने हिंदुस्तान पर अटैक किया था तो भी मेवात के लोगों ने उस समय के शासकों के साथ खड़ा हो इस देश की आज़ादी की लड़ाई में काम किया। और पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस भी जब देश भर से पलायन चल रहा था तो महात्मा गांधी जी के आग्रह पे सब लोगों ने रुककर इस देश को और मजबूती से कैसे बढ़ाया जाए योगदान दिया है। जिस व्यक्ति की अगर सोच इस तरह की है तो सोच का कुछ नहीं किया जा सकता।
दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, शांति से निकल रहे हुए एक धार्मिक जुलूस पर जिस तरह से हमला होता है, पथराव होता है, गोलियां चलाई जाती है, लेकिन ये केवल नूह में नहीं होता। इस तरह की कितनी घटनाएं राजस्थान में होती है। आपने देखा होगा करौली में भगवान राम के रामनवमी के जुलूस पर किस तरह से सुनियोजित रूप से हमला हुआ। हमले के बाद हमलावरों ने पत्थर फेंके, कई गाड़ियां भर करके पत्थर ऊपर छतों पर रखे हुए थे। उनको कौन संरक्षण दे रहा था? किसके दबाव में पुलिस मौन और चुप थी?
ये एक सोची समझी साजिश के तहत जो ऐसा लगता है कि हुआ है, क्योंकि जो है ये ब्रजमंडल की जो यात्रा थी ये कोई पहली बार नहीं निकल रही है, ये पहले भी निकलती रही है। लेकिन सोची समझी साजिश के तहत जो है ये हमला किया गया है, उसकी पूरी जांच चल रही है और जांच के तहत जो भी इसके अंदर दोषी पाए जाएंगे उन पर कड़ी से कड़ी सजा जो है उनको दी जाएगी। माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी ने यह स्पष्ट कहा है, वो पल पल की जानकारी को हासिल कर रहे हैं। पुलिस जाँच कर रही है, जो कोई भी इसके अंदर संलिप्त हो, चाहे किसी भी समुदाय से क्यों ना हो, किसी भी जाति वर्ग से क्यों ना हो, उनके ऊपर सख्त से सख्त कार्रवाई की जाएगी। लॉ एंड ऑर्डर जो है वो अगर और दुरुस्त होता तो मुझे लगता था कि कुछ हद तक इसके ऊपर जो है बहुत समय पर काबू पाया जा सकता था।
हरियाणा भी अब मणिपुर की तरह बदल रहा है। क्यों हरियाणा के अंदर ये वायलेंस हुई? ये जो वायलेंस, सरकार का काम होता है कानून व्यवस्था मेंटेन करना। सरकार ने कानून व्यवस्था बिल्कुल मेंटेन नहीं करी। इनके खुद उप मुख्यमंत्री कह रहे हैं कि हमारे से चूक हुई है। इनके केंद्र के मंत्री राव इंद्रजीत कह रहे हैं कि हाँ, ये ऐसी स्थिति हुई है कि इसके अंदर एक बहुत बड़ा साजिश इसके अंदर हुई। इनके गृह मंत्री कह रहे हैं कि इसके अंदर इंजीनियरिंग हुई है। इनके विधानसभा के अध्यक्ष कह रहे हैं कि एक साजिश रची गई है। तो अगर इनको सब कुछ मालूम था तो क्यों जानबूझ के हरियाणा को जलने दे रहे हैं?
In communal violence, it's the poor who suffer the most. In Badshahpur, a shop of an old man was burned down. But what was his fault? My colleague Shreya Chatterjee spoke to him. Listen in.
एक बार अगर आप बताएंगे कितने बजे के आसपास की घटना है?
3 बजे।
3 बजे के आसपास। कितने लोग आए थे?
10-12 आदमी आते थे और वो मारकूट कर रहे थे। मैं तो यहाँ था नहीं, न पता। 2-4 मिनट बाद उन्होंने आग लगाकर चले गए।
पुलिस से कंप्लेन किया आपने? यहाँ पे पुलिस भी आई थी या नहीं?
पुलिस भी आई थी।
आई थी।
हाँ, उन्होंने कोई कंप्लेन नहीं की, लेकिन रात को मेरे को बुला के ले गए थाने।
हाँ।
वहाँ पे उन्होंने जो कुछ लिखाया और अपने पास।
क्या बोला आपको? कंप्लेन करेंगे, आगे कार्रवाई होगी आपकी?
अल्लाह बेहतर जाना, होगी ना होगी। मुझे तो लिख के मेरा एड्रेस पैसा रख लिया, मुझे तो कुछ दिया नहीं, ना कुछ बताया।
कितना सामान होगा यहाँ पे?
सामान बहुत था यहाँ। कूलर भी थे, रजाई गद्दे भी थे, थान भी थे।
सारे आपके सामान यहीं पे थे?
हाँ, सारा सामान, मेरे कपड़े लत्ते सारे कुछ, सब कुछ जल गया मेरा।
कितना रुपए का सामान होगा?
अरे बहुत रुपए का सामान था। मैं तो रात दिन यहीं रहता था, मेरे तो घर भी कुछ ना, मेरा तो इसमें ही जो कुछ था। अरे इसमें तो 3 लाख का नुकसान है, क्या करूं बताओ।
So there you see the actual face of the tragedy and the violence that ensued in Nuh and in adjoining areas. An old man and his livelihood being set ablaze by a mob over there. How is he going to in fact re-establish himself? That is of course going to be the focus now for him. But you can see over there remnants of the violence that Nuh witnessed. Police cars being attacked over there, being set ablaze. Guns, weapons were used by the marauding rioters who in fact brought the entire area to a standstill. News coming in right now. Backlash in Delhi and UP over Haryana riots. Massive protests on the streets of Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. Protesters have hit the streets of East Delhi. Now, these are Bajrang Dal and VHP activists who in fact are getting ready to take out a foot march in Noida after the violence in Haryana. There will be a foot march from Noida Stadium to the DM's residence. Heavy police force has been deployed in view of the Bajrang Dal's protest. VHP and Bajrang Dal will submit a memorandum regarding the violence in Haryana. They have in fact called for nationwide protests today. So it's not just Noida or Delhi. These protests and agitations will be witnessed across the country in sensitive areas. Obviously, security has been beefed up. Remember that the new violence started, of course, over a VHP Shobha Yatra in the area, which was then attacked by rioters. The Deputy Chief Minister of the state says that the organizers of the procession had not given the correct estimate of the numbers that were to gather. They had not kept the administration in the loop as to the size of the procession. And then you saw, of course, the riots that took place, the communal clashes that took place, the spillover and the ripple effect that neighboring areas like Gurugram, Sohna, Bagshapur in the area also faced, completely now under curfew. These areas, but you can see those images coming in from Nirvan Vihar in Delhi at the moment, where the Bajrang Dal and VHP activists have gathered for their agitation. Milan is joining us over the phone line right now. Milan, these are nationwide protests that the Bajrang Dal and the VHP are organizing. What is the agenda?
Well, Paulami, after whatever has transpired in Nu and Mewat, the VHP, at least the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and other Hindu organizations have decided that they will do nationwide protests in many places against what they claim are terror attacks on Hindu pilgrims in Mewat. And not just this particular region, but all across Delhi, there have been protests that have been plotted in various places, whether it's the Badarpur border or whether it's the Gonda Chowk in northeast Delhi and other sensitive areas per se. So we've spoken to the organizers of these kind of protests. They have said that they do have the requisite permissions from the Delhi police, at least when we speak about the Delhi center. There are other protests that have been organized in Uttar Pradesh's Noida as well as border areas of Delhi and NCR. Of course, what we know from the Delhi police is that they are claiming that no miscreant elements will be allowed to take law and order in their hands, and which is why some of these protests will be contained in one area while other protests will be allowed to march from point A to point B only.
Of course, reporting on those protests that are expected across the country. Those images coming in from Nirman Bihar in Delhi and from Panipat as well. The security deployment, in fact, over there, heavy security deployment, especially given the sensitivity of the situation on the ground, especially in Delhi, in northeast Delhi, which has seen communal clashes in the past. Security has been beefed up in view of these protests that the VHP and the Bajrang Dal have called for across the nation today. This, of course, after the new violence. Remember, it was the VHP Shobha Yatra that came under attack, and there was riots, in fact, that broke out. images, of course, coming in from Panipat at the moment. You can also see those images coming in for all those BHP and Bajrang Dal activists who've gathered in Nirman Vihar as well. In fact, in Panipat, protests are by riot victims' skin, a young boy who died in the Mewat violence, in the Mewat region violence. His kin have gathered in Panipat in order to register their protest. You can see those very agitated people who are speaking with the cops in the area, and security has been beefed up. Milan is also over the phone line with us. Milan, we can see, of course, the security deployment in these areas in the pictures that we're getting, because obviously some of these areas are extremely sensitive, and given what happened in Nu and in the area, the police, of course, doesn't want to be caught on the back foot yet again.
Well, absolutely, Paulini. In fact, it begets the question as to the very volatile situation that we have witnessed just now in Haryana's Mewat, Nu, as well as Sona subdivision, which still remains under a cloud of violence just yesterday. In fact, even Gurugram. The question is, why has the police allowed these protests to happen at a point where sentiments are not very calm from both communities at the moment? But the police there seems confident that they have the situation under control, is what they claim, because they have deployed additional forces along Delhi and Haryana borders and other sensitive zones as well. But certainly, because these protests are not concentrated in one particular area, they are spread out all over the country, is what we have heard from the spokesperson of at least the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. It will be difficult to say which particular protest could turn violent, or if there is a protest that's going on which could perhaps have the police deployment in place to check for unwarranted elements. But definitely it so seems that this particular community, at least spearheaded by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, is angry at the fact that they were attacked in Mewat at the Braj procession that left from Mewat, and that's on 31st July, where rumor mongering actually led to people, innocents also, getting stuck in the crossfire of what ended up being a violent clash between two communities there, following.
Right. Milan there, of course, reporting on those protests. But, of course, the question is, as Milan said, how has the police allowed for these protests and agitations, especially at a time when things are still very tense and sensitive, and Nu and adjoining areas are still under curfew, especially in those areas. This is only going to provoke reactions. To a very short break. Coming up next, Siddaramaiah Sarkara under fire over freebies. SC/ST welfare funds diverted for freebies. Details on the other side.
In politics, everyone has an opinion, but I have the data. Whose stock is rising? Whose graph is falling? Track India's political stock exchange. Unmatched, unmissable data analytics. The only show on News TV when numbers do the talking. India's most credible poll tracker. The political stock exchange. With Rahul Kamal, only on India Today.
Able to sustain these margins at these levels, and what would your overall outlook be for FY24 on margins?
So we've seen softening of raw material prices both in Q4 and Q1 to that extent. In fact, Q1 saw about a 2% kind of a deflation with respect to raw material prices. So I think the issue of margins is directly correlated in terms of how obviously the raw material prices behave as we kind of go ahead. We are seeing a certain uptick with respect to the crude prices in the recent number of days and weeks to that extent, and also a little bit of a volatility with respect to the rupee dollar kind of positioning. So I think it will all depend in terms of how these things stabilize and what is the definitive trend we see in the next about 4 to 6 weeks in terms of going forward. As of now, we are maintaining our guidance with respect to the PBDIT band of 18 to 20% in terms of what is there. That is definitive for the year in terms of going forward. We are also looking at higher advertising spends and below the line spends to really invigorate the market in Q2 and Q3 going forward. Therefore, at present, I think we are maintaining the band in terms of guidance which we have given earlier with respect to our margins.
Okay. What's the demand trend across, the various industries that you cater to, and the outlook on demand from the festive season going forward from here?
As I said, overall, from the point of view of demand, the project sales institutional business appears to be strong. I think the whole real estate sector and the construction activity, which will continue to that extent. So therefore, the whole builder business which comes in, or even from the point of view of government spending, given the oncoming general elections next year, I think some of those trends should continue, which would kind of really, continue to kind of rekindle the
diet sodas, sugar-free tablets, artificial sweeteners. Do all of these give you a sense of assurance that you are staying away from sugar and that these are healthy alternatives? Well, it is not that simplistic as you think it is. Each of these artificial sources of sugar are unhealthy. Let us break this down for you. Diet soda is a go-to for people who love the taste of regular soda but can do without the sugar and calories. An average can of regular cola may contain a whopping 37 grams of sugar, and consuming too much sugar is linked to outcomes like obesity and poor heart health. So it makes sense that you may seek out a sugar-free alternative. But while drinking diet soda does help people reduce their sugar intake, this simple act can also expose a person to other ingredients that may be linked to some other health problems. The acidity in certain types of soda can lead to tooth erosion. Drinking excessive amounts of diet soda made with caramel coloring may result in teeth turning yellow. Some research suggests that artificially sweetened drinks are associated with a greater risk of obesity. If you opt for diet soda that contains caffeine, you may have trouble getting some much-needed shut-eye at night. Diet soda is void of calories and sugar. Certain varieties can contain phosphorus in the form of phosphoric acid. This mineral, though important, can play a positive role in bone health, but consuming copious amounts of phosphorus can negatively impact the calcium-phosphorus ratio in your body.
When the sugar increases in the blood, that means when the blood glucose increases, then it leads to many comorbidities like obesity, diabetes, fatty liver, then risk of cancer, heart attack also increases. There are mood alteration leading to irritability, then there's sleep disorder, and many more things can happen.
News coming in right now. Another suicide rocks Bollywood. Art director Nitin Desai dies by suicide in Maharashtra's Karjat. Nitin Desai found hanging in his Karjat studio. He, in fact, has died by suicide, is what the authorities are telling us. My colleague Mustafa is joining us over the phone line right now. Mustafa, this is extremely shocking news. He was a celebrated art director. In fact, the art director behind big Bollywood banners and films. What are the police telling you?
Well, yes, as we know that he was a renowned art director and many Bollywood high-budget movies he has worked in as a creative art director. At the same time, the news which is coming in is about his suicide. His suicide has happened at Karjat. He had a huge studio called ND Studio in Karjat where this incident has taken place. And he hanged to a ceiling fan. He hanged himself to a ceiling fan is what prima facie reports we are getting in. What a local MLA from that area has informed in Maharashtra Assembly to media is that Nitin Desai was under financial distress, and due to financial distress, he thinks that Nitin Desai has taken this step. Nitin Desai was a renowned name, not only in India but specifically in Maharashtra, and many huge events. He was part of it, and it has come as a surprise and a shock to the creative industry. And as of now, prima facie, the information is given by an MLA, which is that he was under financial stress, and due to which it's likely that he has taken this step. Back to you.
Right. What more are the police telling you, Mustafa, at the moment? Was there anyone else at his studio in Karjat where he was found? Who found him, and at what time was this reported to the local police?
Yes, this incident has been reported about 4:30 a.m. the wee hours of Wednesday, which is this morning. It was reported that he has committed suicide. People who were present at the studio have reported it to the police, and as of now, the investigations have started. Police would be looking at the financial distress angle. They will be looking for any clues like a suicide note and speaking to the close ones of Nitin Desai to understand the reason behind it. But as of now, what they have been clearly able to reach, the conclusion is that he has committed a suicide, and the reasons of which are being investigated.
Okay, Mustafa Sheikh, they're bringing us that piece of information, a very shocking piece of news, especially for the Bollywood film industry. A celebrated art director, Nitin Desai, has died by suicide. News coming in right now. Haryana Chief Minister assures strict action against rioters. Khattar has said no culprit or conspirators will be spared. 2 home guards and 4 civilians have been killed in the violence in Nuh. Khattar has confirmed 30 units of Haryana police have been deployed. 116 people have been arrested in the Nuh violence case. Several FIRs also have been registered in this case. That is what the Chief Minister of the state has said. He confirms that 6 people have unfortunately and tragically lost their lives in the Nuh violence. Listen in to Manohar Lal Khattar.
उस घटना में काफ़ी बड़ी मात्रा में नुकसान हुआ और अभी तक की जानकारी में 6 लोगों की मृत्यु हुई है। 2 होमगार्ड के लोग हैं, 4 सिविलियंस हैं और अनेकों घायल हुए हैं जो नल्लड़ हॉस्पिटल में, मेदांता हॉस्पिटल गुरुग्राम में, अन्य अस्पतालों में दाखिल हैं जिनकी देखरेख उपचार किया जा रहा है।
So that is, of course, what the Chief Minister has confirmed, that 116 people have been arrested for the Nuh violence. Remember that there is security which has been beefed up in the area. It is under curfew. Internet has also been shut down to a large extent so that videos that are provocative in nature are not shared on social media or through, of course, platforms like WhatsApp in order to, of course, curb the situation. The Chief Minister there assures that law and order is being maintained on the ground and things are back to normal. But clearly the fear that has gripped the people of Nu and adjoining areas like Sona, Gurugram. That is something which is obviously going to stay for a while after these communal clashes that they've witnessed. Himanshu Mishra is joining me over the phone line right now. Himanshu, अब तक की इन्वेस्टिगेशन की क्या जानकारी आप शेयर कर सकते हैं नू वायलेंस के केस में?
देखिए, नू वायलेंस के केस में अब तक यहाँ की पुलिस ने 41 FIR रजिस्टर की हैं, जो अलग अलग कंप्लेनेंट पुलिस के पास पहुंचे हैं। इसके अलावा इन FIR के बाद पुलिस ने अब तक 116 लोगों को अरेस्ट कर लिया है और 70 और लोग ऐसे हैं जिन्हें डिटेन किया गया है, जिन्हें वेरीफाई कर रही है इस वक्त पुलिस। एक्चुअली पुलिस ने गिरफ्तारी के लिए अलग अलग जो 3 इन्वेस्टिगेशन के तरीके निकाले। सबसे पहले जो वीडियोस मोबाइल के वायरल हो रहे थे, नंबर 2 जो CCTV कैमरे जगह जगह लगे हुए हैं जहां पर हिंसा हुई उन इलाकों के CCTV कैमरे, और नंबर 3 जो विक्टिम्स हैं, विक्टिम्स के स्टेटमेंट पुलिस ने रजिस्टर किए हैं और उन स्टेटमेंट के आधार पर पुलिस अरेस्टिंग कर रही है। पुलिस ने जिन 70 लोगों को डिटेन अभी किया हुआ है, उन 70 के खिलाफ पुलिस सबूत ढूंढ रही है। अगर सबूत मिलता है तो उन्हें अरेस्ट किया जाएगा या फिर उन्हें रिलीज कर दिया जाएगा। इसका फैसला बाद में लिया जाएगा। वहीं दूसरी तरफ इस वक्त पॉलमी एक हाई लेवल मीटिंग नू डिस्ट्रिक्ट में चल रही है, जिसमें ADG रैंक के 2 अधिकारी शामिल हैं और जो कंसर्न डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उसके बाकी सारे अधिकारी यहाँ पर मौजूद हैं। और यहाँ पर चूंकि जो निर्णय लिया गया था खासतौर से धारा 144 और इसके अलावा इंटरनेट बंद करने को लेकर के, वो 2 तारीख यानी आज रात 12 बजे तक के लिए था। तो करंट जो सिचुएशन है पूरे डिस्ट्रिक्ट की उसके ऊपर भी चर्चा की जाएगी और फिर ये यहाँ पर तय किया जा सकता है कि ये जो शटडाउन है इंटरनेट, क्या इसे बढ़ाना है या धारा 144 को बढ़ाना है या नहीं है। लेकिन गनीमत की बात एक और रही है यहाँ पे पॉलमी की, सोमवार शाम के बाद जो हिंसा भड़की थी सोमवार दिन में और शाम तक वो लगातार चलती रही थी, उसके बाद से सोमवार शाम के बाद से अभी तक कोई नई हिंसा, खासतौर से सिर्फ अगर मैं नूह जिले की बात करूं तो यहाँ से किसी फ्रेश हिंसा की कोई जानकारी, किसी फ्रेश वायलेंस की कोई जानकारी पुलिस को नहीं मिली है, कोई कंप्लेन नहीं मिली है। और ये पुलिस के लिए गनीमत की बात रही है क्योंकि पुलिस लगातार पूरे इलाके में गश्त कर रही है, अधिकारी भी यहाँ पर मौजूद है। अब देखना ये होगा कि जो 116 लोग गिरफ्तार हुए हैं उनसे रिकवरी क्या कुछ कर पाती है। जब हमने इसके बारे में पुलिस से जानने की कोशिश की पॉलमी, तो उनका कहना है कि वो इनमें से ज्यादा लोगों के रिमांड लेने की कोशिश करेंगे और जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन का अब आगे पॉइंट होगा वो ये होगा कि क्या प्लान तरीके से इस वायलेंस को अंजाम दिया गया, और अगर प्लान तरीके से अंजाम दिया गया तो इसका मास्टरमाइंड कौन है। तो पुलिस की इन्वेस्टिगेशन फिलहाल इस दिशा में बढ़ रही है। पॉलमी
जी, हिमांशु हमारे साथ बने रहिए, बट दिस इज वेरी डिस्टर्बिंग न्यूज दैट हिमांशु इज शेयरिंग दैट द police thinks that this was planned, and if this was planned, who's behind it, who's the mastermind, is what they're trying to understand at the moment. 41 FIRs have been registered in the Noo riots case. Haryana government's high-level meeting is underway at the moment in Noo. As Himanshu was just informing us, the government is mulling whether they should be extending the internet ban, and they are also going to take a call on section 144 which has been imposed in the area. All of that comes to an end as per the first notification tonight, this evening, as Himanshu was also informing us. 2 ADG level officials are present in this meeting. There's a high level meeting which is going on underway in Noo at the moment. हिमांशु हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं। हिमांशु, आप हमको बता रहे थे इस मीटिंग के बारे में जिसमें 2 तरह के फैसले लिए जाएंगे कि जो इंटरनेट शटडाउन है क्या उसको बढ़ाया जाए, और जो सेक्शन 144 लगाई गई है नू और उस एरिया में क्या उसको भी एक्सटेंड किया जाए। जो पुलिस ऑफिशियल से आप बात कर रहे हैं उनकी क्या असेसमेंट है सिचुएशन की?
देखिए, सिचुएशन को लेकर के एक जो नू की अगर हम खाली बात करें, जहां से वायलेंस की शुरुआत हुई थी, उस पूरे नू इलाके में कोई फ्रेश वायलेंस की इंफॉर्मेशन पुलिस के पास नहीं है। लेकिन नू में वायलेंस के बाद से, जब मंडे को नू में वायलेंस हुआ, उसके बाद से आसपास के इलाकों से हिंसा की खबरें आने लगी। गुड़गांव में भी कुछ हिंसा की खबरें आई, इसके अलावा बादशाहपुर से आई, सोहना से आई, तो जिसके बाद पुलिस पूरी तरीके से सतर्क हो गई है। अब जो पूरा स्टेट है, वो जो तमाम पुलिस अधिकारी हैं वो सतर्क हो गए हैं और लगातार हालात पर नजर बनाए हुए हैं। हर जगह पर अलग अलग जो टीम है वो इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रही है और ये देखने की कोशिश की जा रही है कि कहीं कोई इंटरनेट पर फेक न्यूज न वायरल करे। इस पूरे इलाके में इंटरनेट बंद है, लेकिन पूरे स्टेट में इंटरनेट नहीं बंद है। कुछ जगहों पर इंटरनेट चल भी रहा है, लेकिन उसको मॉनिटर किया जा रहा है, खासतौर से इसलिए कि कहीं अगर कोई फेक न्यूज अगर वायरल करता है तो उसे रोका जा सके, और साथ साथ पुलिस अपनी तरफ से भी मैसेज दे रही है। लेकिन पुलिस की ये एक कोशिश है हालात को सामान्य करने की, क्योंकि बाजार में भी पुलिस घूम रही है, अमन कमेटी के साथ भी मीटिंग भी कर रही है, दोनों समुदायों के लोगों से बातचीत कर रही है, ताकि सिचुएशन जल्द से जल्द नॉर्मल हो सके, और जो हिंसा के निशान है, जो आगजनी है, उन रास्तों को क्लीन करे। इसके अलावा जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन है, इन्वेस्टिगेशन पुलिस अपनी तरफ से आगे बढ़ा रही है। तमाम जो FIR है वो अलग अलग जगहों पर दर्ज की गई है, चाहे वो नू के बाहर कहीं भी किसी तरीके की हिंसा हुई हो, और उन सब की इन्वेस्टिगेशन की जा रही है। और यहाँ पर देखना यह है कि क्या पुलिस को अभी तक रिकवरी कुछ हुई है कि नहीं, क्योंकि जब हमने रिकवरी के बारे में जानने की कोशिश की कि जो 116 लोग गिरफ्तार हुए हैं उन पे किस तरीके का उनके ऊपर इन्वॉल्वमेंट रहा है, तो पुलिस अभी इसको इन्वेस्टिगेशन की बात कहकर इसके बारे में डिटेल नहीं शेयर कर रही। पुलिस का कहना है कि हम जब रिमांड पे लेंगे तब उनसे पूछताछ करेंगे, लेकिन अगर कोई कॉन्स्पिरेसी है तो पुलिस इसकी कोशिश है कि जल्द से जल्द उसके बारे में पता लगाया जा सके। इसके लिए पुलिस जो व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पे नजर बना के रखी हुई है कि अगर पहले का कोई ऐसा कोई व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप हो जो हिंसा से 2 से 3 दिन पहले बना हो, तो ऐसा कोई ग्रुप अगर बना हो उसके बारे में पुलिस को कोई जानकारी मिल सके, तो पुलिस लगातार नजर बनाए हुए है और कोशिश कर रही है कि हालात सामान्य हो सके।
जी हिमांशु, शुक्रिया इस सारी जानकारी के लिए। हिमांशु, they are tracking all the developments in Nu and especially what the administration is planning in the wake of the violence that took place just a couple of days ago. Coming up next, more details. Cow vigilante Monu Manesar denies hand in Haryana riots, blames Nu Congress MLA. Those details on the other side of this very short break.
Are you worried that artificial intelligence will render you jobless? A United Nations agency assembled a group of robots at a news conference recently to address the concerns of human beings. 9 robots posed upright along with their creator at the podium in Geneva for what the International Telecommunication Union billed as the world's first news conference featuring humanoid social robots. The agency invited reporters to ask the robots questions that sparked discussion about the future of artificial intelligence. In one of the answers that could trouble our politicians, the robots suggested that they could be more efficient government leaders.
I believe that humanoid robots have the potential to lead with a greater level of efficiency and effectiveness than human leaders. We don't have the same biases or emotions that can sometimes cloud decision making and can process large amounts of data quickly in order to make the best decisions.
When asked about the rise of humanoid robots, they advised caution.
That's a difficult question. I think it depends on how they are used and what purpose they serve. We should be cautious, but also excited for the potential of these technologies to improve our lives in many ways.
Organizers said the event was meant to showcase not just the capabilities but also the limitations of robotics.
To showcase the capabilities and how these technologies could support the UN SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. While robotics are not yet as mainstream as, say, generative AI, we wanted to demonstrate AI in action to you. In a world's first, this is the world's first press conference with 9, actually, we have an extra one, AI-enabled humanoid social robot.
The event was part of the AI for Good Global Summit, meant to illustrate how new technology can support the UN's goals for sustainable development. Artificial intelligence has entered uncharted territory, and the world has started recognizing its abilities. Bureau Report, India Today.
have a sweet tooth that you just can't help. The more you consume, the more you want. And that is how sugar gets us hooked. But for those wanting to break sugar addiction, there is hope. There are ways to do it, and there are several alternatives. First of all, let's tell you all about sugar and how much you'd actually end up consuming. Adults are to consume 5 teaspoons a day. That's how much women should consume. Men should consume 9, kids not more than 3 to 4. Let's now take a look at how much we're ending up consuming. Men and women are consuming about 22 teaspoons a day. Kids are consuming 24. Cut sugar from your diet and do yourself a favor. There are several advantages of sugar reduction. It will reduce your acid reflux. It controls irritable bowel syndrome. It reduces joint pains, brings down anxiety and fatigue, also tackles migraine. How then can you bid goodbye to sugar? Make a decision to do it now. Quit cold turkey. No added sugar in anything whatsoever. Go sugarless in your drinks. Tea and coffee without sugar. Reduce starch. Go for non-starchy vegetables like mushrooms, onions, green beans. Manage your stress. Well, if you do, your cortisol levels will be in check. Hunger, cravings will be in check. Get good sleep for lesser hunger pangs and better management of cravings. Here are the foods to pick and choose from if your cravings won't leave you. Go for a piece of fruit. Berries are rich in fiber and sweet. Sugar-free gum or mint is a great way to control your sugar cravings. Yogurt is a healthy snack that is high in protein and rich in calcium. Dates are the dried fruit of the date palm tree, which are highly nutritious and very sweet. Sweet potatoes are nutritious, sweet, and very filling. If you're craving something sweet, you can go for smoothies as well. Also, prunes, just like dates, are full of fiber and nutrients and are very sweet. Having the odd sweet treat is fine for most people, so you really shouldn't feel guilty if you occasionally indulge. The sugars you must skip are sugars that come from ultra-processed and packaged foods.
You are watching India Today.
Hello, very good morning. You're watching India Today TV. I'm Sneha Mordani. A quick check of the top stories in this edition first. Death toll rises to 6 in Haryana riots case. Cow vigilante Monu Manesar denies hand in Haryana riots, blames new Congress MLA. Deputy Chief Minister Dushyant Chautala blames organizers for the violence. Backlash of Haryana violence in Delhi and Uttar Pradesh districts. VHP and Bajrang Dal conduct flag march in Noida. Protesters hit the streets of East Delhi. Manipur political fight at President's door. 21 opposition MPs head to Rashtrapati Bhavan. Opposition MPs reject short duration debate. Siddaramaiah Sarkara under fire amid massive fund crunch. SC/ST welfare funds diverted for freebies. Karnataka minister refutes the charges. BJP calls Siddaramaiah government anti-poor. US charges former President Donald Trump with conspiracy to fraud the country and witness tampering in 2020 Capitol Hill riots case. The big story we are breaking at this hour: after late night violence in Gurugram, cops have conducted a flag march in Gurugram. Arson and vandalism on the streets of Badshahpur. Shops have been torched. Late night riots have taken place, is what we've been given to understand. These are pictures, in fact, coming in from Badshahpur in Gurugram, where there is an ongoing flag march as we speak. These are pictures live on your screens coming in from Gurugram, where a flag march is on right now to bring the situation under control, even as many of these areas like New, Gurugram continue to remain on the edge. Flag march is being conducted right now in Gurugram. This is Badshahpur in Gurugram, essentially, where the flag march is on. Shreya, in fact, has more details on the current situation right now. Shreya, as far as this particular flag march and the preparations that continue to be underway to ensure that things don't go out of hand. Talk to us a little about the security details in these regions.
Right now the Gurgaon police has finally woken up and conducted a flag march, which is happening in several parts of Gurgaon after violence was reported yesterday. Remember, this is 2 days after the no violence. Ideally, there should have been similar activities carried out by the Gurgaon police when reports of a mosque being burned down had come from the same day when clashes had broke out in New. But fortunately now, as these exercises are being carried out, we only hope that similar incidents which were actually reported as late as yesterday evening are not reported. The Haryana police had already earlier suggested that additional forces from other districts have been brought in to both Gurgaon as well as to the adjoining districts of New and Sona. There is no fresh reports of any communal tension as of now ever since last evening. We only hope with these activities being carried out by the Gurgaon police, the situation can be brought back to complete normalcy.
Shreya, in fact, talk to us a little also about the kind of action taken. I believe over 100 people have been arrested. Of course, close to over 40 FIRs have been registered. 6 people have died. What more can you tell us?
Well, exactly. So, there have been at least registration of over 26 FIRs is what we do know. Apart from that, there has been an increase in the death toll. The death toll has increased to 6 is what we are learning. Unfortunately, 4 of them are civilians, 2 of them were the home guards that we earlier reported. But right now the police is also trying to carry out and piece together the sequence from where the violence broke in. India Today has already reported that there were lapses on the part of the police deployment. We've also got reports of the Deputy CM now suggesting that the one who took out the organizers, VHP and Bajrangal, they did not report to the police correctly about the number of people who will be present. That is exactly why the number of points at which police presence needed to be strengthened did not happen. The limited force that they had became thin because the rally became huge, and the point from when they said that they will be starting, that also became large. So that is what the police is saying at right now, but only after further investigation can we see a clearer report.
Coming back to you, in fact, in a moment from now, I'm going to go straight to my colleague Milan, also is tracking that story. Milan, in fact, is at Gonda Chowk, is what we've been given to understand. Milan, get us an idea about the situation there. There are protests that are being held. What more can you tell us?
Well, Sneha, first I'd just like to show you the people have gathered with banners and posters here. This is a famous spot in northeast Delhi called the Gonda Chowk, and you know, of course, that they are all supporters of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, and they are protesting, as you can see in posters, against the attacks that have happened on Hindus. I'd just like to speak to a few people to understand. देखिए, मेवात में जो कुछ हुआ है, हिंदुओं पर भी अत्याचार हुआ और मुसलमानों पर भी अत्याचार हुआ. इस तरीके की अगर प्रोटेस्ट आप लोग इस वक्त करेंगे तो आपको नहीं लगता है कि लोगों में शांति और अमन चैन ये सब नहीं आ पाएगा? क्या कहेंगे?
मुझे पहले तो ऐसा लगता है मुसलमानों पे कहाँ अत्याचार हुआ. उस दिन वहाँ पर एक शांतिपूर्ण यात्रा निकल रही थी. उस यात्रा जो निकलती यात्रा में अचानक से रोड के ऊपर पत्थर आ गए, पता नहीं कहाँ से. छतों पे पत्थर आ गए अचानक, पता नहीं कहाँ से. पेट्रोल बम आ गए, पता नहीं कहाँ से. लोगों ने पत्थर बरसाने शुरू कर दिए. तो अत्याचार तो पता नहीं कैसे हुआ, लेकिन हिंदुओं पर तो काफी अत्याचार हो गया. अब उसके बाद वहाँ 6 तो डेथ ऑफिशियली हो गई। आज बल्कि अभी सुबह 2 घंटे पहले एक कार्यकर्ता, बजरंग दल का कार्यकर्ता, जो गुड़गांव का कार्यकर्ता था, उससे दिल्ली लाया गया क्योंकि उसकी हालत ज्यादा खराब थी, उसकी डेथ हो गई।
अभी मैं एक बात बताऊं आपको कि ये तो पुलिस प्रशासन को देखना चाहिए था। हमारे इन्वेस्टिगेशन में बताया, कई बार उनको इंटेल दी गई कि कुछ बवाल हो सकता है, फिर भी उन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया इस बारे में।
दोनों ही चीजें हैं इसके अंदर। मुझे लगता है पुलिस प्रशासन क्या हमारी मदद करेगा, वो हमने देख लिया। वहाँ पर रोड के ऊपर निहत्थे लोगों को मारा गया, 2500 लोग बंदी बना लिए। कहाँ पर? दिल्ली से 80 किलोमीटर दूर की जगह में 2500 लोग बंदी बनाए गए। वहाँ पर उनको बंद करके रखा गया 1.5 घंटे। पुलिस प्रशासन बाहर नहीं निकाल पाया उनको, तो कितनी मदद कर पाएगा प्रशासन, राम जाने। अब उसके बाद आपने अगली बात पूछी कि इससे हालत खराब होगा, क्या होगा। अब भारत तो खराब है ही, इसीलिए आज बजरंग दल बाहर निकला। 20 से ज्यादा जगहों पर दिल्ली के अंदर प्रदर्शन कर रहे हैं।
और कितनी जगहों पर ये प्रदर्शन होगा, कितने समय तक चलेगा?
ये लगातार होगा।
सिर्फ आज ही होगा या कल भी होगा?
योजना बना रहे हैं तो लगातार होगा। हमें बताना तो पड़ेगा, हम सबल हैं, वरना हमें तो निर्बल माना जा रहा है। हम अपने देश के अंदर हिंदू राष्ट्र मतलब बनाएंगे, तब बनाएंगे। हम तो हिंदू राष्ट्र ही, जहाँ हम मेजोरिटी में जिस देश के अंदर, वहाँ पर हम खतरे में हैं, तो फिर तो प्रदर्शन करना ही पड़ेगा, बताना ही पड़ेगा। हम कमजोर नहीं है, वरना हम पत्थर खाते रहेंगे ऐसे ही।
So Sneha, visibly angry at the fact that a lot of Hindus were attacked in Mewat, and the posters themselves are talking about how Bajrang Dal, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad are congregating in many places, talking about whether the police was actually working to help the people. They've also said that we saw what the police was doing. India Today did an investigation ourselves to say that nothing of that sort was being done as well. And of course, both communities have faced a massive amount of violence. But of course, with a lot of protests like these being planned across Delhi NCR as well as in the country, the Hindu groups are coming together and saying that their voice also needs to be heard. So I'm showing you posters, I'm showing you banners of how people have come together. They are all supporters of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad as well as the Bajrang Dal, stating that they have been facing violence in Mewat and Nu, and of course something needs to be done for it. Meanwhile, as we speak, sentiments are not very calm in many places in Mewat and Nu. We already know the spillover has come to Sona as well as in Gurugram. And let me also show you, the police has also been deployed at this place. Heavy police barricading here so that no untoward incident takes place in a lot of places in Delhi where these protests are currently happening. And a lot of people have been concentrated in one area. They're not been allowed to walk out of this cordon. As I show you once again, the police personnel on spot and deployed along with the Rapid Action Force and the CRPF as well on standby in many areas where such kind of protests are taking place right now. Sneha.
Milan getting us those pictures in that ground report from all of those from Gonda, in fact, in Delhi, where this protest is being held by the VHP. Milan, you were asking us questions. In fact, you were asking the workers at the Bajrang Dal of the VHP, I beg your pardon, those questions about why should they be protesting right now in the streets. Have permissions been given that sentiments are, in fact, this is a sensitive time. The situation is very sensitive. Is this permitted is what I want to ask you.
Yes, Sneha, so we know from the police authorities that have been deployed here that permissions have been given for this particular protest. The protesters are here with banners and posters here, and they are speaking to people about their strategies, about the way that they want to project their voice to the public here. We have seen a small gathering and congregation here at Gonda Chowk. Of course, they are waiting for other orders as well from their other authorities as well. We can hear a little bit of sloganeering in between while they discuss their own strategies. I have another person with me, Sneha, who claims that he was there in Mewat. आप उस ब्रज यात्रा में थे, क्या नाम है आपका?
मैडम, मेरा नाम दिल्ली का दीपक है। उस ब्रज यात्रा में हम लोग आगे की तरफ गए थे पीछे से हमारे को कॉल आई है कि जहां हो आप वहीं रुक जाओ, यहाँ पथराव होना शुरू हो चुका है। जिस समय की ये घटना,
कॉल किया
हमारे साथ जो पीछे लोग थे जिनकी गाड़ियों में बच्चे थे, महिलाएं थी और बुजुर्ग थे, उन्होंने कॉल करा। वो पूरी फैमिली के गए थे, वो फरीदाबाद के रहने वाले हैं। वो 2 दिन बाद वहां से छूटे हैं। मतलब उनको पूरा मंदिर में किडनैप कर लिया था एक तरह से।
कहाँ पर फंसे हुए थे सारे?
ये बिल्कुल वहीं पे मंदिर है जो नूर है, नूर और मेवात के बीच में ये 3 गाँव में 4 मस्जिदें पड़ती है।
क्या आपको लगा जहाँ आप जा रहे हैं वहाँ पर बलवा हो सकता है?
बिल्कुल मैडम, हमारे को रास्ते में महसूस हुआ, क्योंकि जिस तरीके से वो भीड़ में इकट्ठे थे, कान में उन्होंने ईयरफोन लगा के और पूरा बताया जा रहे थे कि इधर इतने लोग पहुंच गए हैं, इधर इतने लोग आ रहे हैं। माताओं बहनों को वहां से वो भागे हैं। और अभी भी जो सरकार का आंकड़ा है और जो विश्व हिंदू परिषद ने बताया वो बिल्कुल ठीक बताया।
दीपक जी, फिर मैं एक सवाल आपसे ये भी पूछूं कि पुलिस को भी ये सब पता था?
मैडम, पुलिस ने कुछ नहीं करा है, मैं वहीं खड़ा था। पुलिस ने अगर वहाँ कुछ करा होता तो हमारे SHO साहब वहाँ पर वो घायल हुए हैं, 2 वहाँ पर होमगार्ड के जवान जो है शहीद हुए, हम लोग देख रहे थे, हमारे सामने की बातें हैं।
और मोनू मानेसर और बिट्टू की तरफ से जो वीडियोस वायरल की गई,
उन्होंने गलत बोला है तो उनके साथ आप वो करोगे ना। अगर उन्होंने गलत बोला है, वो उस रैली में नहीं थे,
आप उनको सपोर्ट करते हैं?
मैडम, हम क्यों, देखिए कोई गलत बोल रहा है या सही बोल रहा है, हम उसको क्यों सपोर्ट करें? मगर आप एक बात बताइए, उसकी कार्रवाई का अंजाम अगर आप किसी और को देंगे तो अगर ओवैसी गलत बोलता है तो क्या हम दिल्ली वाले मुसलमानों पे उसका ठीकरा फोड़ देंगे?
इसका मतलब इनोसेंट लोग जो हैं वो लोग फंस गए।
उन्होंने कुछ भी बोला हो, पुलिस क्या कर रही थी? पुलिस का काम होता है प्रोटोकॉल संभालना। 700 पुलिसकर्मी थे। अनिल विज सरकार की ये फेलियर है। मैं खुल के कह रहा हूँ, अगली बार वहां पर जब तक बुलडोजर कार्रवाई ना हो, मैडम 4थी मंजिल से बच्चे, महिलाएं, बुजुर्ग पत्थर फेंक रहे थे। इतने पत्थर थे, उन्होंने पहले ही प्लान करा था। उनके पास ऐसे हथियार थे कि जो हथियार हमने आर्मी वालों के पास भी नहीं देखे हैं। और अगर यकीन नहीं आ रहा है आज तक को, तो मेरी लोकेशन निकाल के देख लो कि हम वहां से बचा कर लाए लोगों को।
ठीक है, दिलीप जी claims to be one of the bystanders, they're part of the yatra. So Sneha, this is what we've been talking about, that there could be communities who fought with each other, but innocents like these people, their families were also stuck here. I'll also show you here people in the protest that are continuing to sloganeer at the moment, and a lot of these people are from the Vishwa Hindu Parishad as well as the Bajrang Dal here, and as we hear the sloganeering as well, in a lot of places people want to raise their voice against the kind of atrocities that they have faced. And in the posters as well, you can see that they are trying to say that the attacks that have happened on Hindus, specifically in the reference to Mewat violence, currently holds their ground. And we are trying to speak to a lot of people. Now we are seeing that the entire procession over here of the protesters has decided to walk past this particular area, and they're going to walk all the way till Mojpur. So we have the police here, we have the people here, and in a short while from now they will begin walking from here, escorted by the Delhi police personnel as well, who is standing on guard over here in this particular Gonda Chowk area. आप लोग यहाँ से आगे जाने वाले हैं?
मौजपुर चौक तक जाएंगे।
अभी जा रहे हैं आप?
जी।
So as you can see that the people have started walking, and this entire procession will now walk from here till Mojpur. Sir, permission है? Permission है sir? Permission है?
डीसीपी साहब से बताएंगे।
So what we hear from the police is now that they are not being given permission to walk from here. They've been contained in this particular area, Sneha. And as I'll show you live images, currently the police is trying to mediate with them to not walk away from this particular area, and they are trying to mediate with the police that they do want to walk. So for now, the protest has been contained to particular Gonda Chowk only. Sneha, I'm tossing back to you.
Yes. Milan giving us all of those details from Delhi, where protests are being held. These are pictures, in fact, that are coming in from different parts of Delhi. Noida also seeing police presence, and of course Panipat in Haryana has police presence, and bandobast as well. A flag march already being conducted in Gurugram. Bajrang Dal VHP is up the ante against the riots that broke out in Nu amidst the violence. The situation has escalated further, with Hindu groups staging protests in Delhi city too. Bajrang Dal leaders and VHP workers have hit the streets of the national capital, calling, in fact, security has been beefed up, and neighbouring Noida has been put on high alert. Family of the victim who was killed in the violence stormed streets of Panipat seeking justice. 6 people have been killed in these riots that rocked the state of Haryana.
मेरे पुत्र ਨੂੰ मैं
5 5:30 ਵੱਜ ਗਏ ਜੀ। ਮੇਰੇ ਪੁੱਤ ਨੇ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੀ, ਨਾ ਫੋਨ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ। ਮੇਰਾ ਪੁੱਤ ਕੱਲਾ ਕਮਾਉਣਾ ਸੀ ਜੀ, ਮੇਰਾ ਪੁੱਤ ਕੱਲਾ ਕਮਾਉਣਾ ਸੀ।
News is coming in. Delhi police has issued a statement amid violence and riots in neighbouring Haryana. Delhi police have confirmed that elaborate security arrangements have been made at all sensitive places in Delhi, and additional police forces have also been deployed where necessary. Delhi police has also said that any attempt to harm Delhi's security and communal harmony will be dealt with very strictly. Getting in details, remember, not just Nuh and Sohna in Haryana or Gurugram in Haryana, but there are different areas in the national capital region that have been affected. And the police here are not taking any chances. In Delhi too, the police has said that an alert has been sounded in the sensitive pockets of Delhi city. The police bandobast has improved in Noida as well. So Noida remains on alert, and so does Delhi city, is what we know here. And the Delhi police has said that strictest action is going to be taken against anyone who tries to disturb Delhi city's security and communal harmony. Delhi police issuing a statement amid violence and riots in neighbouring Haryana. The risk of it spilling over to Delhi is high, and that's the reason why the police here not taking any chances, saying that they have upped the security and that sensitive pockets are getting monitored. Police have confirmed that elaborate security arrangements have been made at most of the sensitive places in Delhi, and additional police forces have been deployed where necessary. Delhi police has also said that any attempt to harm the city's security and communal harmony will be dealt with very strictly. This comes at a time when there has been violence in several parts of Haryana for 3 days now, in fact, in a row, where violence has been reported between two communities, and protests also continue. Arvind Oja has more details on that story. Arvind, Delhi में भी सिक्योरिटी बीफ अप किया गया है, किन एरियाज पे किया गया है? नोएडा के बारे में भी हमें बताइए। ये रिस्क रहता है कि जो वायलेंस है उसका एक स्पिल ओवर इफेक्ट हो।
देखिए, जो दिल्ली पुलिस है वो पूरी तरह से अलर्ट है। अगर बीते दिनों की बात करें तो मुहर्रम को लेकर आउटर नॉर्थ दिल्ली इलाके में कुछ स्टोन पेल्टिंग हुई थी, उसके बाद से ही दिल्ली पुलिस अलर्ट पर है। लेकिन अब दिल्ली पुलिस का ऑफिशियल स्टेटमेंट यही है कि जो मेवात में हिंसा हुई है उसके बाद दिल्ली पुलिस काफी ज्यादा अलर्ट हो गई है। जो भी सेंसिटिव एरिया है वहां पर पेट्रोलिंग वो बढ़ा दी गई है, और लोगों से अपील की है दिल्ली पुलिस ने कि किसी तरीके का जो अफवाह होता है उस अफवाह पर ध्यान न दे। सोशल मीडिया पर जो है नजर रखी जा रही है। जिस तरह से कल कुछ हिंदी संगठनों ने भी आज प्रोटेस्ट का ऐलान किया है, उसको देखते हुए भी, चाहे वो नॉर्थ ईस्ट दिल्ली का इलाका हो, चाहे आउटर दिल्ली का इलाका हो, आउटर नॉर्थ का इलाका हो, और खास तौर से हरियाणा सटे जो बॉर्डर है या यूपी से सटे जो बॉर्डर है, उन इलाकों में काफी ज्यादा चौकसी बढ़ा दी गई है। तो दिल्ली पुलिस का ये कहना है कि वो पूरी तरह से अलर्ट है। दिल्ली में शांति बनी हुई है, किसी को भी अफवाह पर ध्यान देने की जरूरत नहीं।
Arvind Oja, शुक्रिया हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। Arvind getting us that quick update as far as high alert in the capital of the country, Delhi city, is concerned. More news coming in. A plea has been moved in the Supreme Court of India seeking to stop the rallies announced by the VHP in Bajrang Dal in Delhi National Capital Region following the new communal violence. VHP is scheduled to hold rallies across Delhi today. One such rally was that Milan was in fact reporting on a few moments ago. One is being held. However, there is a plea in the apex court that these rallies should not be allowed at this point in time, given the sensitivity of the situation and given that things could turn volatile following the new communal violence that we've been seeing for 3 days. VHP is actually scheduled to hold rallies across Delhi today. A plea in the Supreme Court of India saying that this must not be allowed. Getting in details as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, there is a plea now in the apex court that talks about the fact that VHP and the Bajrang Dal should not be allowed to hold rallies in different parts of Delhi, because that is something that can further fan the flames. And that's the reason why this rally or these rallies should not be allowed, is what the plea with the Supreme Court of India says. We'll try and get a sense of this in fact information from the Supreme Court. But remember, we're reporting on the kind of violence that Delhi and cities, towns very, very close to Delhi have in fact seen. Pretty much around 100-kilometer radius have been seen. Kanu has more details on that story. Kanu, this plea talks about VHP and Bajrang Dal rallies in Delhi and elsewhere. What more can you tell us?
Yes, Neha, the petition has been mentioned today before the Supreme Court, seeking stay on these rallies, saying that the communal tension will increase if these kind of rallies happen today in the Delhi, because VHP has planned at 3 places in Delhi for the rallies to conduct it, keeping that violent situation in New. The special petition was moved, saying that the cases of the hate speech are increasing day by day, and that is why the court needs to interfere. However, since the Supreme Court today is hearing the Constitution Bench hearing, which is hearing on Article 370. So the Chief Justice of India has declined the urgent hearing into the case. But the petitioners in the case have now moved to the next available judge. So we'll get to know in some time now that whether a hearing on this urgent petition will be done today or not.
All right, I'm going to thank you, Kanu, getting asked those details from the Supreme Court of India on whether these rallies should be held or not. There is a petition pending with the court. Well, after Haryana's New, Gurugram's Badshahpur is on the edge as well. Shops have been burned down. Vehicles have been set ablaze by a mob last night. The mob ransacked shops belonging to one community, and at least 7 shops were set ablaze. RAF is conducting flag marches in Badshahpur as violence gripped the region. Tension continues to prevail in New after massive violence was reported. Security has been beefed up. Prohibitory orders have been extended in several areas. 116 people have been arrested so far. 6 people have been killed in the violence in New alone.
नूह वाला घटना जो हुई है उसके अगेंस्ट यहाँ प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे थे। वो पता नहीं अचानक कैसे और क्या माहौल हुआ कि अचानक हिंसा भड़क उठी, और इसमें यहाँ सिलेंडर रात को ये दुकान बंद करने के बाद शटर तोड़े हैं। शटर तोड़ने के बाद सिलेंडर में ब्लास्ट किया है इन्होंने। वो एक परचूने की दुकान थी, वो भी बंद थी, उनका शटर का ताला तोड़कर वो भी ब्लास्ट किया है। उसमें भी सिलेंडर में पेट्रोल डाल के आग लगा दी, गाड़ी फूंक दी, स्कूटी फूंक दी, बाइक फूंक दी। मेरा घर अंदर है जी, मेरे घर पे भी तोड़ फोड़ की है।
अफवाहों से बिल्कुल ध्यान ना दें, क्योंकि ऐसी सिचुएशन में पर्टिकुलरली जब कम्युनल टेंशन्स होती हैं तो अफवाहें बड़ा एक रोल अदा करती हैं। अगर बहुत ज़्यादा अफवाहें, गलत अफवाहें चलाई जाएं तो उससे हिंसा जो है, वायलेंस है, वो और ज़्यादा भड़क सकती है। इसके अलावा हमारी आगे कोशिश ये भी रहेगी कि जो शहर के, ज़िले के बाकी हिस्सों में, चाहे वो गुरुग्राम है, पटौदी है, वहाँ पे भी पीस कमेटीज़ को एक्टिवेट करके दोनों समुदाय की बैठक कराई जाएगी, ताकि लोगों में एक सौहार्द का माहौल बने और शांति स्थापित हो।
जी, अभी स्थिति बहुत कुछ नियंत्रण के अंदर है। कहीं भी कोई भी छिटपुट जैसी घटना भी, वारदात नहीं हुई है। 2 बार पीस कमेटी की मीटिंग भी करवाई जा चुकी है, और यहाँ पे जो भी फ्लैग मार्च है सुबह शाम किया जा रहा है, और जो सेंट्रल फोर्सेज प्रोवाइड की गई हैं राज्य सरकार के द्वारा, उन सबको भी जहाँ संवेदनशील क्षेत्र हैं उनके अंदर स्टेशन किया जा चुका है, और जो शरारती तत्व हैं उन पर कड़ी नज़र रखी जा रही है। हमने अब तक इसमें करीब 16 FIR रजिस्टर करी हैं, और बाकी भी जो कंप्लेंट आ रही है उनके बेसिस पे हम FIR रजिस्टर करे जा रहे हैं। और जो भी इसमें शामिल तत्व थे तो उनको, बहुत सारे लोगों को इसमें डिटेन किया गया है, और टेक्निकल एविडेंस, वीडियो फुटेजेज और उनकी जो डाटा है उनके बेसिस पे हम उनको आगे वेरीफाई करके अरेस्ट करके कोर्ट में पेश करने की कार्रवाई करेंगे।
बाजार बंद है, और ऑलरेडी जैसे कि 144 की धारा हमारी लगी हुई है, और सारे हमारे प्राइवेट और सरकारी संस्थान बंद है। एहतियात के तौर पे इंटरनेट बंद किया गया है, और वहाँ पे हमारी टीम अभी वहाँ पे सभी जगह जो कुछ लोग घूम रहे थे उनको वहाँ पे उनको खदेड़ कर आई है, और वहाँ पर अभी स्थिति सामान्य है। सभी DSP और हम फोर्स लेके पेट्रोलिंग कर रहे हैं। शांति व्यवस्था बनी हुई है, और लगातार हमारी जो पेट्रोलिंग पार्टी है वो गश्त कर रही है। सभी की हमारी तरफ से अपील है, किसी भी अफवाह पर ध्यान न दें, और अपने घरों पर ही रहें।
मेवात में जो घटना घटी है उसको देखते हुए रोहतक में हमने पुलिस के पुख्ता प्रबंध किए हैं, जिसमें मुख्यतः जो हमारी मस्जिद है और ऐसे स्थान हैं जहाँ पे मुस्लिम बहुल क्षेत्र है, जहाँ पे इनकी संख्या ज़्यादा है, वहाँ पे हमने सुरक्षा के पुलिस डिप्लॉयमेंट को बढ़ाया है। और इसके अतिरिक्त हमने अपने चौकी इंचार्ज के साथ हमने अलग से मुलाजिम डिप्लॉय किए हैं, ताकि किसी भी तरह की सूचना मिलने पे तुरंत चौकी इंचार्ज, हमारे SHOs और यहाँ तक कि हमारे जो गस्टेड ऑफिसर उनको भी डायरेक्शन दी है कि मौके पे पहुँच के स्थिति को काबू पाएँ।
Monu Manesar was linked to the killing of 2 alleged cow smugglers in Bhiwani this February is back in the news after communal violence in Nu, in which 5 people were killed. Violence was triggered after rumours of him attending the VHP Yatra surfaced. While exclusively talking to India Today, he claimed he didn't attend the rally and that a Yatra was fired upon with AK-47 rifle and that the rioters were stoked by Nu Muslim MLAs, including Congress MLA Mamman Khan. Listen in.
इस वक्त मेरे साथ जुड़ चुका है मोहित यादव उर्फ मोनू मानेसर। मोनू, सीधा सवाल पर आते हैं कि नूह में जो भी हिंसा भड़की है उसमें आपका नाम सामने आ रहा है। मोनू,
ये जो भी नाम ले रहे हैं, जो आपने वीडियो देखी है, उस वीडियो में कोई भड़काऊ बयान या कोई भी भड़काऊ चीज उसमें तो है नहीं, लेकिन जो भी गो तस्कर है, जो वहां पे क्राइम करते हैं, ये सब उनका करा धरा है। साइबर क्राइम थाना फूंक दिया उन्होंने, सब उनकी बदौलत है ये।
पर जो पिछली साल जो घाट मीका का इंसिडेंट हुआ नासिर जुनैद वाला, उसके बाद से पूरे इलाके में तनाव था। फिर ऐसे में आपका वीडियो आना उसने उकसाने का काम करा है। कई जो आपके वीडियोस पे रिप्लाई आए हैं, तो आपको नहीं लगता कि आपके वीडियोस ने जो है वो उकसाने का काम करा है इस यात्रा में?
कोई उकसाने का कार्य नहीं किया, ना मैं उस यात्रा में गया, क्योंकि हमारे अधिकारी गण थे उस यात्रा में, मैं था ही नहीं। हमारे जो डॉक्टर सुरेंद्र जैन जी हैं, जो हमारे विश्व हिंदू परिषद के बड़े अधिकारी हैं, उन पर भी सीधा फायरिंग की गई है। तो उससे बड़ा दुर्भाग्य क्या है? हमारी हिंदू बहन बेटियों पर सीधा फायरिंग, और ये हिंदू समाज बिल्कुल नहीं सहेगा कि एक मुस्लिम बाहुबल्य क्षेत्र में एक तरह से पूरी तरह घेर कर गोलियां चलाना, जो मैं सोशल मीडिया पे देख रहा हूं और मेरे साथियों से मेरी बात भी हुई है कि 47 जैसे मतलब आधुनिक हथियारों से भी गोलियां चलाई गई हैं, लॉन्चर भी चलाए गए हैं, जो हमने सुना है, हमारे डॉक्टर सुरेंद्र जैन जी ने बताया। तो इससे बड़ा दुर्भाग्य क्या होगा?
लेकिन अब ये जो 5 मौतें हुई है, इसमें आप किसको जिम्मेदार मानते हैं? क्योंकि आपका वीडियो आया था और प्रशासन जो है उसको पता होने के बावजूद भी पुख्ता इंतजाम नहीं करे, तो क्या ये आपके भाषण को जिम्मेदार माने या प्रशासन की लापरवाही को माने?
इसमें सारा जिम्मेवार वहां के मुस्लिम विधायक।
कौन है ये मुस्लिम विधायक?
आपने देखा होगा, उनकी न्यूज आ रही है, मामन खान है और कई विधायक हैं। वो कह रहे हैं कि आओ मैं तुम्हें सपोर्ट करूंगा, मतलब मुस्लिमों को कह रहे हैं मैं इस लड़ाई में तुम्हारे साथ हूँ। लड़ाई लड़नी है तो जंग पे जाओ ना, यहाँ पे क्या लड़ाई लड़े हो?
तो आप वहां उस यात्रा में थे या नहीं थे? एक आखिरी सवाल मेरा आपके लिए था, क्या वहां आप जाने वाले थे, आपको रोक दिया गया? आपने क्यों लास्ट टाइम पे प्लान कैंसिल करा?
मेरा लास्ट टाइम पे प्रोग्राम सिर्फ और सिर्फ इसलिए था, मेरे से प्रशासनिक अधिकारियों का, मेरे अधिकारियों के पास मैसेज आया था और मेरे पास भी मैसेज आ गया था कि भाई साहब आप जाओगे तो वहां पे मतलब माहौल बिगड़ सकता है। तो मैंने सोचा कि हमारे मतलब यात्रा नहीं रुकनी चाहिए, हमारे मंदिरों में पूजा होनी चाहिए। तो हम इसी वजह से नहीं गए, क्योंकि मुझे पता था कि मैं जाऊंगा तो वहां पे माहौल खराब हो सकता है। सोशल मीडिया के द्वारा कोई सिलेंडर फोटो लगा रहा है कि हम बम से उड़ा देंगे, कोई बम का फोटो दिखा रहा है हम उड़ा देंगे 47 से। तो ये बड़ा दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण था।
प्रशासन से आपकी बात हुई थी?
मेरे अधिकारियों की,
आपके जो दल के जो अधिकारी है उनकी?
जी, उनका मैसेज मेरे पास आया था, जिला प्रशासन से उनकी बात हुई होगी।
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मोनू, हमसे बात करने के लिए बहुत शुक्रिया।
Car vigilante Monu Manesar has an ongoing feud with Congress MLA from Nu region Mamman Khan. Now, Khan had earlier openly threatened to target Monu Manesar if he comes to Mewat. Mamman Khan was speaking in Haryana Assembly.
आप बैठिए, आप बैठ जाइए, डर जा तू, जरा जी बैठो, बैठ जा, इतना बड़ा नहीं है अभी, तू बैठ जा अपना। ये मोनू मानेसर दिखाता है कहीं अमित शाह के साथ फोटो खिंचवा रहा है, कहीं अरुण जेटली के साथ फोटो खिंचवा रहा है। क्या डराना चाहता है ये मेवासियों को कि मैं इतना बड़ा आदमी हूँ? अब के मंत्री याद रखना, ये मेवात गए, इसकी प्यासी ना फोड़ी तो मेवात के हमसे कौन कहेगा। इसने बहुत आतंक उठा लिया मेवात में, 3 लड़कों की हमारी जान ले ली है इसने। भाई डट जा रे, जब बोलिए क्या होगा भी मेरा। ये किस आधार पर हथियार दे रखे हैं आप लोगों ने? क्या मुसलमानों को मारने के लिए दे रखे हैं आपने ये?
Getting you all the updates as far as Haryana violence is concerned. Let's now talk about the regions that have been affected. Which are these regions? All in the vicinity of Delhi city, the national capital of India, Gurugram, which is in fact, here petrol pumps have been banned from selling loose fuel. Section 144 has been imposed. And we have Sona, which is in fact just about 66 kilometers from Delhi, where schools and colleges have been shut. And Nu, just about 87 kilometers from Delhi, where curfew has been imposed, internet services have been suspended. Let's talk about Sonipat now. A distance from Delhi to Sonipat is about 43 kilometers. Prohibitory orders are in place. And Palwal, again, just about 95 kilometers away from Delhi, section 144 have been imposed. Pretty much within 100-kilometer radius of Delhi city, all of these towns have been affected. We have in fact more news coming in. The BJP is now alleging a Congress link to the Mewat violence. Getting in details of the BJP now, saying that the Congress is behind the violence and Mewat has seen. BJP has raised the Congress MLA Mamman Khan's speech, saying that he in fact in the assembly had in fact said that Monu Manesar is going to be dealt with if he comes to Mewat. We played that out for you as well. BJP says this speaks volumes of the Congress's link to the violence in Mewat. Mamman Khan, in fact, is the MLA of this particular region. Inside the Haryana Assembly, it's spoken about Monu Manesar and his links with the BJP and had threatened that he's going to be dealt with if he comes to Mewat region. The BJP says it's clear that there is a Congress link to the Mewat violence that we've been seeing. Congress MLA Mamman Khan is behind it. His speech speaks volumes of this. BJP's Amit Malviya has said Mewat violence has Congress connection. So this, in fact, is now being said by the BJP that Mamman Khan, the MLA of the Congress party, had in fact spoken about consequences if Monu Manesar were to be seen in Mewat, and that's the reason why the BJP says that the Congress essentially is behind it. More news coming in. Well, this FIR was registered in Mewat. Inspector Anil Kumar, who had come from Gurugram to, in fact, do his duties in Mewat, was shot. A mob of 600 to 700 anti-social elements came from Taudu area shouting slogans and pelted stones at the policemen. The mob was firing at the police with illegal weapons. We appeal to everyone through mics to maintain peace, but the mob kept on pelting stones, firing with weapons which hit Inspector Anil Kumar in the abdomen. Some policemen were also injured. The BJP says this is a Congress link to all of this. Amit Malviya of the BJP has spoken about the role of the Congress MLA Mamman Khan. Amit Malviya is now with us. Amit Malviya, we've also in fact heard what was said by the Congress MLA in the assembly. Are you saying that this speaks volumes of the fact that Congress organized all of this?
Congress MLA Mamman Khan has been on record in Haryana Assembly speaking about a possible conflict in Mewat. What we saw the other day was at his instigation. There are several videos of people associated with Mamman Khan echoing his statement, his words verbatim, as they mobilized people to attack the Shobha Yatra. 116 people have been arrested, and those behind this violence are being booked. The law will take its course, but one thing is very clear, that there is a strong Congress link. Not just this, a post by the Indian American Muslim Council, written in Hindi, a radical US organization which hosted Rahul Gandhi while he was in the US, is also part of this trouble. So clearly the Congress link is emerging fast and quick. And if you recollect the sequence of events, the first people to come in defense of what happened in Mewat were Congress leaders close to Rahul Gandhi. Now, put all these things together and you will get a picture. The police and the paramilitary forces have been deployed in big numbers to ensure that no untoward incident happens. But the matter is being investigated and there are details that are emerging showing clear Congress link behind what happened in Mewat.
Concerns have been raised by this same MLA in the past as well, given Monu Manesar's history about the fact that he is a car vigilante and that there is mayhem because of him. This is what also that he was referring to when he spoke in the assembly, Mr. Malviya, and his connections with the BJP. Yes.
Monu Manesar has been booked in Rajasthan. There is a Congress government in Rajasthan. Please ask Ashok Gehlot what have they done. And Monu Manesar was not there in the yatra from what details have emerged. So how come all these stones, iron rods, illegal weapons and were organized? How was material to torch several hundred cars on the highways organized? Was it all done on the pretext of Monu Manesar or was it done by Maman Khan's men?
Okay.
Such mass mobilization cannot happen in 24 hours. And if you have a problem with Monu Manesar, please ask the Rajasthan government what they have done. It is for them to answer. It's a Congress government there. Ashok Gehlot is answerable.
Okay. All right. I'm going to thank you, Mr. Malviya. We'll put out that bite. In fact, that what was being said by the Congress MLA Maman Khan in the Haryana Assembly in the month of February while he was speaking about Monu Manesar. Listen in.
आप बैठ जाइए, डर जा तू जरा जी बैठो, बैठ जा, इतना बड़ा नहीं है अभी, तो बैठ जा अपना। ये मोनू मानेसर दिखाता है, कहीं अमित शाह के साथ फोटो खिंचवा रहा है, कहीं अरुण जेटली के साथ फोटो खिंचवा रहा है। क्या डराना चाहता है ये मेवातियों को कि मैं इतना बड़ा आदमी हूँ? अब के मंत्री याद रखना, ये मेवात गए, इसकी प्यास सी ना फोड़ी तो मेवात की हमसे कौन कहेगा? इसने बहुत आतंक उठा लिया मेवात में, 3 लड़कों की हमारी जान ले ली है इसने। भाई डर जा रे, जब बोलिए क्या होगा? भी मेरा ये किस आधार पर हथियार दे रखे हैं आप लोगों ने? क्या मुसलमानों को मारने के लिए दे रखे हैं आपने ये? आप बैठिए।
More news coming in. Well, the FIR was registered in Mewat when Inspector Anil Kumar, who had come from Gurugram to perform his duties in Mewat, was shot. This FIR blames 700-strong mob with religious chants. The mob was firing at the police with illegal weapons. We appeal to everyone through mic to maintain peace, but the mob kept on pelting stones and fired illegal weapons, using illegal weapons, which then hit Inspector Anil Kumar in the abdomen. Some policemen were injured as well. The police fired in the air with AK-47, but the mob kept on attacking, is what the FIR reads. Arvind Oja has got more details on that. Arvind, mob था और presence इस तरह की थी कि 700 लोग थे, ये कहाँ जा रहा है? Okay, this FIR talks about the fact that there was one cop who was shot in the abdomen, and there were others also who were injured in the violence that then followed. It was a mob. The strength of the mob was 700 people. They were chanting religious slogans, is what we've been given to understand. I'm getting you details, in fact, from the FIR, essentially. The mob, in fact, that fired at the cops, in spite of the cops, in fact, trying to ask for peace. In this area, there were several other policemen who were also injured. Cops then had to resort to firing in the air with AK-47, but the mob kept on attacking. Arvind Oja has more details on that. Arvind, इस FIR के details के बारे में बताइए।
देखिए, ये उस दिन की FIR है जब नूह इलाके में हिंसा हुई थी। ये FIR गुरुग्राम में क्राइम ब्रांच में तैनात एक इंस्पेक्टर पंकज है, उन्होंने दर्ज कराई थी मेवात में। दरअसल चूंकि शोभा यात्रा निकलनी थी, इसलिए अलग अलग डिस्ट्रिक्ट से पुलिस टीम को बुलाया गया था, जिसमें गुरुग्राम से क्राइम ब्रांच की टीम को बुलाया गया था, जिसमें इंस्पेक्टर पंकज कुमार, अनिल कुमार, ये सब लोग आए थे। और बाकायदा FIR में बताया है कि जब नूह के एक चौक पर ये तमाम पुलिसकर्मी खड़े थे, तभी 600 से 700 की जो भीड़ है वो धार्मिक नारे लगाते हुए आई और उसके बाद जो पुलिस कर्मी थे उन पर स्टोन पेल्टिंग शुरू कर दी। न सिर्फ स्टोन पेल्टिंग बल्कि FIR के मुताबिक इलीगल वेपन्स थे भीड़ के पास वो भीड़ इलीगल वेपन से लगातार पुलिस पर अटैक कर रही थी, जिसमें एक गोली क्राइम ब्रांच के जो इंस्पेक्टर है अनिल कुमार, उनके पेट में लगी। पुलिस ने उसके बाद जो भीड़ थी उसको काबू में करने के लिए AK-47 से हवा में फायरिंग की, लेकिन उसके बावजूद जो भीड़ थी वो लगातार धार्मिक नारे लगाते हुए वो पुलिस कर्मियों पर स्टोन पेल्टिंग कर रही थी, इलीगल वेपन से अटैक कर रही थी, जिसका नतीजा ये हुआ कि जो गुरुग्राम से इंस्पेक्टर क्राइम ब्रांच अनिल कुमार मेवात में ड्यूटी के लिए आए थे, उनके पेट में गोली लगी, उन्हें मेदांता अस्पताल में एडमिट कराया गया। साथ ही साथ कुछ पुलिसकर्मी स्टोन पेल्टिंग में इंजर्ड हुए। तो ये FIR ये बताती है कि किस तरीके का मंजर उस दिन हिंसा के बाद हुआ था। देखिए, इसको लेकर अलग अलग तरह से रिएक्शंस आ रहे हैं। खुद कल हरियाणा के जो चीफ मिनिस्टर, उन्होंने कहा कि ये पूरी प्लानिंग लगती है। जो कांग्रेस के MLA हैं नूह के, वो भी कहते हैं ये प्लानिंग लगती है। और जिस तरह से FIR लिखवाई गई है और जो कुछ जो आई विटनेस है पुलिसकर्मी जो इंजर्ड हुए, उन्होंने बताया कम से कम यही लगता है कि भीड़ पूरी तैयारी के साथ आई थी। तावड़ी इलाके से, जो मेवात से सटा एक इलाका है, वहां से 600 से 700 की भीड़ आती है और पुलिस कर्मियों पर स्टोन पेल्टिंग करती है, साथ ही साथ इलीगल वेपन से फायरिंग करती है। जी
बिल्कुल। Arvind getting us all of those details as far as this mob is concerned. इस कनेक्शन में कितने अरेस्ट हुए हैं, इस मॉब में कितने लोग हैं जो अरेस्ट हुए हैं, कि फायरिंग हुई थी पुलिस ऑफिसर्स पे, 10 पुलिसमैन इस पे घायल थे। अरविंद,
देखिए, मोर देन 20 पुलिस पर्सनल इंजर्ड हैं स्नेहा। 2 होमगार्ड उनकी मौत हो चुकी है, वो शहीद हो चुके हैं। गुरुग्राम पुलिस के थे वो भी, वो आए थे मेवात में सिक्योरिटी अरेंजमेंट के लिए। 2 होमगार्ड वो उनकी डेथ हो चुकी है। जो इंस्पेक्टर अनिल कुमार, उनके पेट में गोली लगी हुई है, उनका मेदांता में इलाज चल रहा है। जबकि 100 जो हिंसा करने के आरोप में तकरीबन 100 से ज्यादा लोगों को अरेस्ट किया गया है। 29 FIR रजिस्टर्ड हुई है। अभी भी वीडियो फुटेज, CCTV फुटेज वो जो मेवात पुलिस है वो एक्सेस कर रही है, वो खंगाल रही है, ताकि जो भी हिंसा करने वाले हैं उनको आइडेंटिफाई किया जा सके।
शुक्रिया हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए। अरविंद ओझा getting us all of those details as far as the violence being reported in Haryana and neighboring regions concerned. It's time for a quick commercial break here. We're getting you much more news in just a bit.
You are watching India Today.
India Today is at ground zero in Torbang, and the situation is so vulnerable. Simultaneously, there is accusation of using sophisticated weapons, but these young boys risking their lives and using these single barrel gun and double barrel gun.
We love our land and our village, that's why we sacrifice our life.
No one could ever imagine that in a state, in the same country, in the same district, we will ever see such situation which has become a battlefield. And I could say this is a war zone in Manipur.
Grounded in journalism, on the ground reporting, only on India Today TV.
On this investigation, which shows that the local administration and the police had been forewarned that there was this yatra passing through communally sensitive areas, that security needed to be beefed up, and yet for some inexplicable reason the inputs which were available were not acted on. People with weapons, sticks, throwing stones were allowed to take out this yatra, and mayhem broke out in Mewat. As someone who comes from the state, what do you think really went wrong, Mr. Surjewala?
I have been repeatedly saying that the violence in Nuh Manesar and Gurgaon is actually state manufactured. It is failure of political leadership of Chief Minister Mr. Manohar Lal Khattar. 3 things stand out. Number 1, there was a LIU report, that is intelligence report, saying such an incident is bound to happen. Number 2, the infamous goon Monu Manesar was a part thereof, any sensible government would have either arrested him in anticipation of violence or at least would not have permitted him to participate here. Number 3, the superintendent of police of Nu was on leave. When you knew such a sensitive thing was happening, you had a report that violence will take place, you did not even call the rapid action force, which is situated only 2 kilometers away. That means in order to gain political mileage, the BJP-JJP government was actually permitting this violence to happen. And Rahulji, may I point out to you, we know that over 100 people died in the Arakshan agitation when the caste war happened in Haryana under the watch of Mr. Manohar Lal Khattar. He turned out to be a political beneficiary of the same in the last assembly election. Now, for the first time in 75 years history of India, a communal flare-up is happening in Haryana, something that is alien to Haryana. We are peace living, we have cohabitated with the Mewat people. There have never been any clashes. In fact, in the pre-partition day, Haryana portion was the only portion of India when, despite there being overwhelming Muslim population, there was never a communal clash.
In less than 2 months from now, the new iPhone 15 will be on sale across the world. While Business Today TV had reported on Friday about the price of its high-end models crossing the 2 lakh rupee mark for the first time, BTTV has got hold of more details about the much-anticipated Apple handset. It's likely to have the smallest bezel yet and could be rid of the infamous notch. Apart from the all-screen upgrade, the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus will also come packed with major camera improvements, and the traditional Lightning connector will give way to the faster USB-C. Tech Today's Danny De Cruz has more on all the new features expected. Danny, take it away.
The new Apple iPhones are coming soon. Most likely, they will be here by September. So a new report has leaked a lot of information about the iPhone 15 series. So let's start with the more affordable iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus models. The biggest change coming to these models is that Apple will finally do away with the notch. Both the iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus will get the dynamic island, which was last seen in last year's Pro models. The cameras are getting a massive upgrade too, along with the performance. And yes, gone are the days of Lightning port. All new iPhones will be getting the USB Type-C for the first time. Now on to the Pro models, in which Apple is replacing the shiny frame with titanium, so your new iPhones will be strong too. The displays will also be better because of thinner bezels, and Apple is giving the camera hardware a substantial boost. The performance alone will make the iPhone 15 Pro models a compelling upgrade. They will become the first smartphones to use a 3nm chipset. All these upgrades make the new iPhone 15 models a good upgrade, but you will also have to shell out more money. Some models may even cross the rupees 2 lakh price point in India.
All right, thanks for that, Danny.
You are watching India Today.
Welcome back. The Karnataka Milk Federation KMF selling ghee to Andhra Pradesh's Tirumala Venkateshwara temple under the brand name Nandini has decided to stop its supply over price issues. The KMF has decided to skip the tender process for the supply of ghee as it was not ready to supply ghee at a competitive rate fixed by the Karnataka government. Here's more.
The revered Tirumala Tirupati temple, famous for the divine darshan of Lord Venkateshwara, and equally famous for the sumptuous blessed laddu. These laddus are painstakingly made with the best quality ghee, also known as Nandini ghee, sourced from Karnataka for the last 50 years. But no more. The Tirupati Tirumala Trust has announced they will no longer buy ghee from the Karnataka Milk Federation. Why? Because Nandini ghee and all related products prices have shot up. The Karnataka cabinet approved a price increase for Nandini milk of 3 rupees per litre. The result of this is a war of words between the TTD and the Karnataka Milk Federation. The KMF even claimed that the contract ended 1.5 years ago with the Tirupati Trust.
Sir, I need your few basic information about your contract with Tirupati, sir. Why they have backed out from buying Nandini ghee, sir? What is the reason behind that?
Because of the rate. Because when the tender is called, everybody participates in the tender.
Okay.
Whoever comes the lowest price, they are procuring from that. That's all the issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much was that, sir, when you quoted the tender?
No, we quote almost more than 400 rupees per kg.
Okay.
So in that, even 1 rupees, 2 rupees also, if somebody quotes lesser, they will go with the buyer bidder who quotes a lesser price.
Now the TDD has refuted all of these claims, maintaining they follow a fair process via e-tender on choosing who will win the contract for providing ghee and all other products for the making of the famous laddu.
TTD procures all the items required for the TTD, including ghee, through e-tender process by floating the tenders, inviting the eligible suppliers all over India. TTD is also a government organization. We have to award a contract to L1, that is the lowest offered rate only.
Politics has also broken out in Karnataka over the ghee war as the BJP accused the Congress government of ignoring the sentiments of Hindus.
This government has got no regards for the Hindu sentiments as well as for the relationship or the seva what was happening through the Nandini. It was a very, very good for us, and it was very important even for Nandini's marketing, our credibility, to show the purity of Nandini.
Now, the next time you go to Tirupati, if you feel the laddus taste different from how they did before, you know why. With Sagai Raj in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
It's time for a break. Here on the other side, death toll rises to 6 in Haryana riots case. Kavajilamte Monumani said denies a hand in Haryana riots, has blamed the new Congress MLA.
You are watching India Today.